Last week, Garrett, Wolfe, and the NIU Huskies romped their way to their first victory of the 2006 campaign. Today, Joe Novak's crew tries to cut down the Sycamores of Indiana State. It's NIU football, and it's coming at you next on Comcast Sports Net. DeKalb, Illinois, Brigham Field at Husky Stadium, NIU at home. Everybody getting ready to watch a battle between the Huskies and the Indiana State Sycamores. Good afternoon, everybody. Alongside former Bear standout Tom Waddle, I'm David Kaplan. And Tommy, when you look at last week's first win of the season over Buffalo, it was a balanced attack.
Well, it was a very important win for them, first and foremost. Their first W of the season against a conference opponent, and everything worked offensively. Great balance, as you say. Garrett rushed for 263 yards on the ground. Phil Horvath had his best afternoon this season so far, making several big throws, including a touchdown pass to Marcus Perez. Great balance on offense, run and pass. Defensively, they finally came up with some big plays. They registered 4 sacks of Buffalo quarterback Drew Willie, and they were flying around hitting people all afternoon long. The most complete effort of the season from the Huskies, and they were rewarded with a victory.
Now, when you look at today's game, Garrett Wolfe leads the country in rushing. He could pop for 200 plus on any given day. He will obviously be the key guy today.
Well, I would think that Garrett Wolfe will have a huge afternoon. As you say, he leads all the college football running backs in yards per game at 210 yards per Saturday. That's a huge number. He'll face a Sycamore defense ranked dead last stopping the run. They give up 290 yards per game out there, worst in Division I AA college football.
All right, when you look at Indiana State, their hope to win today, they've got to keep Garrett Wolfe off the field. They've got a pretty good quarterback, but their running back, Tony West, is a key guy.
They're a balanced attack as well. They will spread you out, run 4 and 5 wide receiver sets. They're led by the quarterback, Riley Murphy, who can run it. He can also throw it. Tony West, their running back, averages 140 yards per game on the ground. And they've got a couple of fine wide receivers on the outside in Carl Berman and Sam Logan. So they're going to have to score some points today because I think the Sycamores are going to be playing from behind most of the afternoon.
All right, the last time these two teams met, some kid was a freshman at Indiana State. His name, Larry Joe Bird. We'll tell you more about it. We'll get the kickoff and the lineups to you coming up on Comcast Sports Net.
You know, there are some things families just don't like to share.
They don't want to share this.
Or this.
Or, these.
Or this.
That's why with U.S. Cellular's family plan, everyone in the family gets their own phone. Plus, they can talk to each other free. Speaking of which, does anyone want to talk about these? Oh, those are Dwayne's. See, you thought you lost them.
U.S. Cellular, we connect with you. Right now, get up to 4 free phones when you buy one for only $29.95.
Get reacquainted with an old friend, Eduardo's Mexican Restaurant in downtown DeKalb. Our simple but elegant dining room has been completely remodeled, including commissioned artwork by renowned Chicago artist Oscar Romero. But our great food hasn't changed. We still have the best selection of authentic Mexican dishes, including seasonal specials, all expertly prepared using only the finest and freshest ingredients, and served steaming hot to your table. Eduardo's Mexican Restaurant, downtown DeKalb.
Stop on in, we've got what you need. Stop on in, you're on the run.
At Casey's, we don't do thin and skimpy pizzas. Casey's piles them up real heavy. All month, get free cheese breadsticks with the purchase of any large pizza. Come in now and enter to win the Snickers Casey's Super Bowl Celebration Sweepstakes. You and a friend could end up at Super Bowl 41 in Miami.
Stop on in to Casey's General Store.
This broadcast of Northern Illinois Husky football on Comcast Sports Net is brought to you by U.S. Cellular. We connect with you. Fatty's Bar and Grill, the official tailgate home of NIU Athletics. Village Commons Bookstore. For all your Husky clothing and souvenirs, visit vcbs.com. Applebee's. Try Applebee's Car Side to Go. You call it in, we bring it out. Casey's General Stores, the official convenience store of NIU Athletics. Casey's, a convenience store and a whole lot more.
Blaine's Farm and Fleet. I found it at Farm and Fleet. The NIU MBA programs take the NIU MBA Challenge. The NIU Alumni Association. Stay connected with NIU. And Kishwaukee Hospital.
All right, we're on the campus of Northern Illinois University. David Kaplan and Tom Waddle with you. Husky Stadium here in DeKalb. Brigham Field is what they like to call it. Let's take a look, Tommy, at your keys to the game brought to us by Resource Bank.
Well, for the Huskies, obviously, the key to anything is to stick to what you do best, and that's give the football early and often to Garrett Wolfe. If they do give it to him early and often, I think you could see Garrett Wolfe running for 250, maybe 300 yards today. Big day for him, and also big day for that defense getting after quarterback Riley Murphy. Last week, the Huskies registered their first 4 sacks of the season. They need more big plays out of their defense. They have to get to this Indiana State quarterback today.
There is Garrett Wolfe, and he is getting ready. Northern Illinois is going to kick off. So Indiana State will have the football first, so we will not see number 1 on the field just yet. But he says he feels good, and he is excited to play today.
Well, he got the same scouting report that we did, and that's that the Sycamores give up 290 per game on the ground. I assume he's very excited to get out there and run the football this afternoon.
Chris Nendick, who's made 100 consecutive PATs, a school record, will kick off. Carl Berman and Robert Barcliffe are deep for Indiana State, and we are underway here in DeKalb. Ball come down 2 yards deep in the end zone, and Indiana State will bring it out. They're going to have very poor field position. The Huskies flying around the ball. Saul Ibarra was there to make the tackle. Appleby starting lineups for Indiana State. Backs and receivers led by that outstanding tailback, Tony West, son of the head coach. Logan, Hutcherson, Jackson, and Berman as they go with a 4-receiver set. And then there's their offensive line anchored by their center, Mike Thorpe. There's Riley Murphy, number 10, 6'2", 215, a junior. Third best offensive stats in Division I AA, threw for 306 a week ago versus Murray State. And they're going to go out of the shotgun. He's going to throw on first down, incomplete. He was looking for his tailback, Tony West. Now, will they call this a lateral? If they do, it's going to be a touchdown Huskies. Kenny West scooped it up. We're waiting for the official signal as they are conferring around the 5, but I believe, Tommy, this is going to be a TD.
Yeah, so far the officials have decided that this was a lateral, recovered obviously by the Huskies and taken in for 6. And they don't seem to be indecisive at all about this call, as you see, and it's a good call. That is thrown behind Tony West.
Lou West is already out at the 25-yard line. The head coach for Indiana State in his second season has yet to win a game, and he is asking the officials to come over. He can't believe that's a touchdown.
Well, you'll see Riley Murphy set his feet and throw it from about the 8.5-yard line, and the ball was touched by Tony West about the 8. So from here, it looked like it was looked like the ball was thrown backwards.
So they will check this one out with video evidence, and we'll find out if this is going to be a touchdown or not.
Poor decision by Tony West, the running back.
He just gave up on the ball.
He just gave up on the ball. You just have to assume that that's a lateral. And regardless of whether or not he caught it, he should have found his way on that ball.
There's a look at the head coach, Lou West, a very interesting resume, Tommy. He's been in the MAC, he's been at Notre Dame, he's been on a lot of different stops and has great experience.
He does. He's trying to turn a program around right now. The Sycamore team has not had much success in the last couple of seasons. And I wonder what he says to Tony, not just as a player, but as a son.
Exactly. Son, you're killing me with that move there.
This isn't the best look because obviously you can't tell whether or not this is a lateral, but the Sycamores just basically gave up on the play, and wisely Ken West scooped it up and took it into the end zone. But that's what you're taught as a defender. Anytime the ball's on the carpet, there's any question at all, pick it up, take it in. Ken West and the Husky defense very alert on the first play of the day. Something we talked about last week in the Huskies game against Buffalo. That defense and not made a whole lot of big plays. The Husky defense. Last week they came up with 4 sacks. They hit some people. I think they came out of that game a little more confident than they had been the prior 2 or 3 weeks. So
there's a look at Kenny West. Let me run down the resume for Lou West, the head coach. He started back in 77-78 at Arizona, then Arizona Western, Middle Tennessee State, Minnesota, Western Michigan, Kansas, a stint at Cincinnati, Kent State, Virginia Tech, Notre Dame, D coordinator at Toledo, and then the head coach at Indiana State. Second season, and he has yet to win a game, but Joe Novak, the very fine head coach in Northern Illinois, knows all about a slow start. Joe went through a 23-game losing streak before he was able to notch a win and get the program molded. You look at his record, 55-62, take the 23 out.
Field. Touchdown.
There you have it. It is a touchdown for Northern Illinois. They call that pass a lateral. Kenny West never gave up on the play, and that's a touchdown for the Huskies.
Great way to start the ball game for Northern. Just a mental mistake from Tony West, or by Tony West. Have to find your way on that football.
Nendick looks for his 101st consecutive PAT, and he's got it. And it's 7-0, 34 seconds into the game.
Now, this was the last thing that Coach Lou West wanted to see from his ball club. Again, just a mental mistake. They're trying to run a little screen to the outside. Riley Murphy throws it behind Tony West. Tony West just stands around. That's just not an acceptable effort from your very talented tailback.
But you know what? That's a really good effort out of Kenny West and the pack of red shirts that they never gave up on the play.
Well, you always pursue. You always treat every ball on the ground like it's a live ball. And this one paid dividends.
NIU Alumni Association scoring drive. 1 play, 7 yards. Ken West finds pay dirt, 7 yards. The fumble recovery for the TD. Berman and Barcliffe again deep. And Nendick again will kick it off. We've been here, it seems like deja vu a few seconds ago.
I think we're going to be here quite often this afternoon. I mean, let's face it, Indiana State winless in Division I AA this season and all of last season. They are stepping up a class to play this Husky team. And we talked last week about Joe Novak wanting to see his team play a complete game and finish an opponent off when they have him down. And I'm sure he's looking for the same thing today.
Nendick will kick it off. And here we go. Ball is away, and this is going to be a deep driving kick. Hits the crossbar. And so Indiana State will start 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line, and they are down 7-0.
It's an important game for the Huskies. Obviously, they should come out here and play well against Indiana State, but after this ball game, they have a couple of big ones on the road. At Ball State, then at Western Michigan. They come home for Temple, and then they go to Iowa. So
tough stretch.
They need to head into that stretch feeling good about themselves on both sides of the ball.
We'll get you the Northern Illinois defensive starters in just a moment. Here we go, 1st and 10, Indiana State trailing by 7 early in the ball game. Man in motion, they're going to hand it off. The quarterback's going to pitch, and it will be a pretty solid gain, and a flag comes flying at the end of the play. We may have a hold coming up here.
I think they're going to get Alex.
Did they get a mask?
Alex Thomas, it looks like, possibly holding at the wide receiver position.
That's what I thought. They got him right out there near the sideline.
Well, I can't trust you. You thought the ball was handed off. But that's the last time I trust you today.
Take a look at the Applebee's starting lineups for Northern Illinois. West, Benson, Crutch, and English, the big man up front. Blaylark leads a pack of real good linebackers. Then there is the defensive backfield. And actually, you didn't see him there, but Tim McCarthy gets the start at middle linebacker.
So 2 offensive plays from Indiana State, 2 big mistakes.
And that ball nearly picked off, but a real nice catch Real good play for Sam Logan, who is their leading receiver. Did a nice job, nearly saw that one picked off, but Logan got his hands on it and made the play.
He's an all-conference receiver for the Sycamores. Just great job catching the football in his hands.
And that's Berman who makes the catch.
That's a tough play to run.
Ridden out of bounds by Utchik.
When your athletes are not as talented as the defensive guys defending that play.
And one correction, I was mistaken. Tim McCarthy is not on the field today.
He's out with injury.
Illinois, correct. And they've also lost Hansbrough for the season.
And their defensive line's been banged up all year long, so they haven't made a lot of big plays on defense. A lot of the reason why, or a big part of that reason, is that they've had significant injuries.
Third down situation, pressure, throw, ball away, and it is completed. West makes the catch, and that will be enough to move the chains for Indiana State in a first down.
Yeah, it was just a coverage mistake. David Bryant was late getting out over top of West as he motioned out, and he just runs a little smash route, gets the first down, but the Huskies were confused on how to defend that play.
Well, David Bryant actually had come up and shown blitz, and by the time he dropped back and got into coverage, that was where the mistake was. And Indiana State completes it for a first down. This pass is intended for Berman, and it is incomplete.
Wide receiver screen. Once again, they try to run it.
You ran a lot of that with the Bears.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. This is something that Joe Novak did not want to see. Brandon Bice looks like he's having trouble getting off the field. As I said earlier, they've had a ton of injuries up front on that defensive line. Very thin to begin with. Not a good sign.
All right, we're going to take a timeout right here. 12:59 to go. First quarter. Huskies strike quickly. They lead 7-0 in DeKalb.
Advance your career with an MBA from Northern Illinois University.
I was able to balance my MBA with my professional life as well as my personal life. And best of all, NIU's MBA program is AACSB accredited and affordable.
I was impressed with the knowledge and experience of the professors, and the program provided me with a well-rounded business education. The affordability and convenient locations made my decision easy, and it made my MBA a reality.
Designed for the working professional, the MBA program at Northern Illinois University. Jumpstart your career today.
NIU fans, when you enter the Village Commons bookstore, you're entering Husky territory. VCB is the official site for NIU athletics, featuring the new NIU logo on a wide range of hats, t-shirts, shorts, sweats, and NIU logo gifts and accessories. Whether you're a student, graduate, or a fan of NIU athletics, the Village Commons bookstore is your Husky headquarters. Visit us in DeKalb or call us toll-free 800-700-4868 or on the web at www.vcbs.com.
Welcome back to DeKalb, Illinois, a college football Saturday on Comcast. And the broadcast rights for this event granted to Comcast Sportsnet by Northern Illinois University. Any reproduction or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Comcast Sportsnet and NIU is strictly prohibited.
And here's another disclaimer. You're not allowed to come home for Sunday dinner after being seen like that on television.
With an Huskies on your chest?
Absolutely. And remember when I had my first beer.
And we've got a flag. I think it's going to be for a false start.
I think that's a great way to describe.
Right at snap. False start on the offense. 5 yards previous spot. Repeat second down.
This is a great way to describe the Sycamore offense to this point in 2 drives. It's been one humongous false start.
They'd like to kick it off again and start this clock back at the 15-minute mark.
Well, and if I'm Lou West, I do exactly what they're doing. Spread them out. You know that the Husky defense is thin because of injuries. Spread them out and make them play a bunch of different athletes.
They'll hand this one off to West, and he will slam his way near the 35-yard line. Craig Rush, Ken West, among the guys there to make the tackle.
You see the numbers on Tony West. Having a fantastic season so far, averaging 6 yards per carry.
3rd and 9 situation for Indiana State. And I'm sure this is where Denny Dornbus and his defensive staff want to see somebody step up and make a play here.
And they've been horrible on 3rd down so far through 3 games.
Murphy going to throw, and it's broken up. Real solid hit, big time hit out of David Bryant.
pass was high anyway, and so Indiana State will be forced to punt.
Yeah, coming into today, they've been giving up 60% of third down conversions to their opponents. As you say, great play by David Bryant right there. An opportunity to get their offense onto the field and see what Garrett Wolfe can do against this Sycamore defense.
Marcus Perez, the deep man. Chris Johansson is in to punt, or is Gabe Mullane going to punt this one? No, it's going to be Johansson. The punt is away. Driving kick. Perez going to grab it at the 20. Makes a move, tries to cut it up inside. Got a little room. Turns the corner. There goes Perez. One man to beat, and he is knocked out of bounds as the punter makes the tackle, and a flag flies at the end of the play.
Yeah, they're going to get Adriel Hansbrough for unnecessary roughness. No reason to throw that block when the play was over. Solid return, though, from Marcus Perez.
Made a real nice move as he bounced it outside. And they will get the Huskies, as you called it. Raymond Vaughn, our referee today. Watch the end of the play. Real good return here.
As you see, Marcus Perez just being a good athlete right there. You saw the personal foul. Adriel Hansbrough just
levels.
No reason to make that contact. You see Perez out of bounds, and mental mistake as well as a physical mistake.
Lights on here now at Brigham Field at Husky Stadium. Husky ball, 1st and 10. They're 35, and they give it to Garrett Wolfe. No shot. And Garrett Wolfe breaks tackles. Garrett Wolfe into Indiana State territory to the 45.
Get used to seeing that. I'll give you one number to think about today, people. That number is 325. Garrett Wolfe's best afternoon as a Husky, 325 yards against Eastern Michigan back in 2004. Against this Sycamore defense, I think that number may be in play today.
Picks up 20 right off the bat. And he'll get it again. And he'll turn the corner. And Garrett Wolfe, another big game. He'll rip off 13 more.
Now we talked about it.
Faulkner made the tackle.
The keys to the game, do what you do best. And for the Huskies, that's run the football. They have a huge advantage up front with their offensive line led by Doug Free, an All-American candidate, against that Sycamore front four.
Appleby starters for NIU. There he is, the man, Garrett Wolfe. There you see the skill position, Perez, Carter, Nordine, and Davis. Up front, the big man anchors at 62, Doug Free, who looks to be a #1 NFL pick next April. Dump pass. This time it's Garrett Wolfe catching it out of the backfield. Garrett Wolfe will pick up another first down. This one via the pass. And the Huskies move the chains, and they're in the red zone. Defensive starters for Indiana State. The Appleby starters, Madison Miller, Will McDonald, Prenny Stokes, and Shonda Faulkner. Those are the guys that are going to have to try and slow Garrett Wolfe down. There's the group of linebackers led by Archie, and the D-backs led by Brian Jackson, who had a 100-yard return for a score against Eastern Illinois. 1st and 10 Huskies.
Good to see Garrett Wolfe involved in the passing game. That is his first reception since week 1 against Ohio State.
That's what you've been screaming for. Horvath to throw. Finds his man. I believe that's Simon who's got it. Struggles inside the 15.
Well, as successful as they will be all afternoon running it, they are going to have to keep that Sycamore defense honest by throwing it every now and then.
2nd and 6 situation, and I would bet you that we'll see Garrett Wolfe run the football.
I would think so, as you see Phil Horvath, who started a little bit shaky this year, first against Ohio State and then against Ohio University, much better last week. And now you'll see him split out at wide receiver, and Britt Davis will take over at quarterback.
Little gimmick here. Britt Davis, #7. Britt Davis going to keep it, go up inside, and he'll be knocked down at the 12-yard line. Gain of a couple.
Little surprised they're just not packing it in tight and going with what they do best, and that's handing it to #1.
3rd down and 4 now.
Not just that, you do not want to show these types of plays, in my opinion, to the teams you'll be playing in the near future. Ball State, Western Michigan, Temple, all MAC opponents coming up after this ball game.
Horvath going to give it to Garrett Wolfe. Garrett Wolfe turning the corner. Garrett Wolfe to the end zone. Give him 6. Touchdown, Northern Illinois.
It's just a young man being an athlete right there. I think that play was designed to go to the right side behind the big block of John Brost and Matt Rogers, and there was nothing there. Garrett just decided to bump it outside, take it around left. A left end, he gets a block from his tight end Brandon Davis, and that's just pure speed getting into the end zone.
Nendick looks for PAT number 102.
You know, man, just has such great vision.
PAT perfect, 14-0 Huskies. Big start for number 1. Garrett Wolfe finds pay dirt. Huskies off quick.
My wife works hard, the kids are 10, 6, and 3. Our life together gets a little crazy. So I called Applebee's like I've done before. They brought our favorite foods out to my car door.
With Applebee's Carside to Go, you call it in, we bring it out.
Now my wife wants to meet me just as fast as she can, 'cause there's something women like about a pickup man.
Applebee's Carside to Go. It's not fast food, it's Applebee's food.
Okay, let's skip the chit-chat and get down to business here. Now listen, I called you guys together because this office is consistently our worst performer. I need all of you thinking of ways to improve our bottom line. So let's just sit here a while and toss around some ideas. This isn't a conference call, Henkel. I'm actually in the room.
Feel like surprising a few people?
I see the sun up in the sky, having fun, both you and I. It feels so good. We always find so much to do, and it feels so good. Oh yeah, it feels so good.
And there's Garrett Wolfe with his big line mate, Doug Free, the big man they call the Freak, who helps pave the way. And Garrett Wolfe following his line and bouncing it outside and getting it into the end zone. Northern Illinois, a 14-0 lead. Downstairs to the third member of our crew, we welcome in Mark Scafidi.
Thanks, guys. Now, Garrett Wolfe just scored his first touchdown of the game. Hopefully, we'll see him for 4 quarters this week. Last week, we were limited to 3 quarters because Garrett Wolfe got sick in the 4th quarter. Now, I talked to Garrett this week at practice and asked him what happened last week. He said he had too much cheese in his pregame diet. I asked him this week, are you going to have cheese in your pregame diet? He said, oh, no more cheese before any games. He wants to finish out the full game and play the full 4th quarter.
All right, thank you, Mark. So, a little too much cheese, Tommy, and we have a flag, by the way, on the kick.
Yeah, bad cheese will get you every time.
Absolutely right. What would you eat before a Bear game, before you'd go out there and run wild over some of those Central Division opponents in the old days?
Usually nothing, because I was so scared to death that nothing would sit well.
Offside on the kicking team. 5 yards from the end of the run. Ball will be placed on the 25-yard line. First down.
I'll tell you what, Joe Novak's got some decisions to make today with regard to Garrett Wolfe. He's a young man that is a true, legitimate Heisman candidate as he leads all of college football, averaging 210 yards per game on the ground. He also is number 1 in all-purpose yards at 248 per Saturday. He's got to balance getting Garrett enough carries and enough action to let him maintain being a front runner for that award, and also not compromising him to any injury. If you've got a large lead going into the 4th quarter, I don't think it's wise to keep Garrett Wolfe out there and risk injury at all. He is the person that will, hopefully for Joe Novak, take them to a MAC title.
And I think that was Keenan Blaylark that blew in there and blew that play up. Knocked Tony West down. Tony, their leading rusher, very solid running back, son of Coach Lou West. 2nd 8 situation. for quarterback Riley Murphy, number 10. He's going to keep it, and Riley Murphy going to be knocked down just across the 30-yard line. It'll bring up a third down situation, and again, Mr. Blaylark made the tackle.
Well, you just have to be so disciplined on defense to play this type of offense. They spread you out with 4 and 5 wide receivers and then run that little counter action, and the quarterback keeps it. You better be playing your keys.
Something's going to give on that number right there. Now hand this one off, and they will not get a first down. It will be close, but it will be short. And I believe Indiana State will have to punt. Corey Hansen made the tackle.
As you see, the NIU defense has struggled this year, giving up nearly 450 yards, and Indiana State offensively has gained the exact same number, 448.7, in their 3 battles. I'm just not sure that Indiana State offensive line is going to be able to move that front 7 of the Huskies to have the same type of success.
Marcus Perez, the deep man. Joe Hansen punted away, a high driving kick, and he will fair catch it at the 35-yard line. So Garrett Wolfe and company will come back on the field, see if they can add to his impressive total and pad a 14-point lead here halfway through the first quarter.
Really not surprised that they decided to run the football on that last third down, trying to move the clock and keep that Husky offense off the field. More football tonight, huh, Cat?
A little bit more. South Florida and Kansas tonight. Kansas just signed their coach, I believe Mark Mangino, to a long-term extension. He has revitalized football for the Jayhawks.
He's a large figure out in that area.
He's a big man. And Garrett Wolfe makes one man miss. Garrett Wolfe will be knocked out of bounds at the somewhere around the 43-44 yard line is where they should spot that. Gain of 8 more. 2nd and 2 situation.
Again, Garrett just sees nothing, bounces it to the outside, makes something out of nothing.
Got a pretty good block from Jake Nordine.
He certainly did. That's a big group in front of him. Good experienced offensive line, a very solid blocker in Jake Nordine at tight end.
Horvath to throw, and he misses connections with Britt Davis. You know, if Glenn Kozlowski was the Northern Illinois coach, there's a chance Garrett could run for 1,000 yards today, because a week ago, Kaz and his Wakanda club had a big win, and he came in to work with us at WGN Radio the next day, and I said, how'd you do? He said, we won. I said, what was the key? He said, my running back ran for 300, whatever. How many times did he carry the ball, Glenn? How many carries, Tom?
Nearly 60, wasn't it?
57 carries. Garrett Wolfe again. Garrett Wolfe makes a man miss. There'll be a flag flying. I think we got a holding coming up.
They threw it in the direction of center Eddie Adamski.
6:42 to go here in the first. 14-0 Huskies. David Kaplan, former Bears standout wide receiver Tom Waddle, and Mark Scafidi is our sideline man.
You have to remain disciplined, even if the opponent you're playing has less talent than you.
10 yards from the spot of the foul.
Well, they got Doug Free. The Freak is who they got for the hold there. So it'll be a 3rd and 12 situation. Third and 10, actually. We'll call it a 3rd and 10. Horvath going to throw. Looking down the field, finds his tight end, Jake Nordine. Makes the catch, moves the chains, first down, NIU. Good throw, good catch.
Yeah, Phil Horvath picking up where he left off last week against Buffalo. Much more efficient, much more accurate with his throwing last week, and that's just a nice strike to Jake Nordine, who found a soft spot in that Indiana State secondary and sits down, converts a big 3rd down. 3rd downs have been a problem for this offense as well for the Huskies. They're converting just 27% of the time on 3rd down.
Horvath again to the air. Goes down the middle of the field, and it's intended for Perez, and a flag's going to fly. There's going to be a pass interference call coming up, I believe, on Michael Roberts. And it will be on Indiana State, so the chains will move again.
Horvath sets his feet and just floats one out there. You see, it's looked like incidental contact to me. Well, maybe Michael Roberts got there a little bit early.
Got him from the backside.
Indiana State cannot afford these types of penalties, that's for sure.
Three penalties for each club right now. As Tom and I get ready to try and kill a bee here in the booth. And they'll hand this to Garrett Wolfe. Garrett Wolfe fenced in this time, and this time it'll be a tackle for loss. He will lose at least a yard, maybe two. Brian Jackson, the man who sniffed it out and made the play.
Just for the record, I was trying to shoo the bee out. I had no intention of killing the bee. The bee did nothing to me. Again, Garrett Wolfe is going to face 8- and 9-man fronts today. You just see Jarrett Carter missed his block on the outside in the slot position. Garrett, nothing up front. They're really not getting a ton of push from their front five. Nice play by Brian Jackson for the Sycamores.
Horvath dumps it off. Garrett Wolfe out of the backfield. Garrett Wolfe makes a man miss and will pick up a good chunk of that yardage. And do we have a flag? Yes, we do.
Well, this is the element that has been missing from this Husky offense. We all know they're going to run the football. They run it exceptionally well.
And we do have a man down for Indiana State. Cannot yet get a number on him. Might be Jaden Everett, number 17.
They have to get Garrett Wolfe more involved in the passing game. He is such a threat. To get the ball to him in space, so important.
Face mask, number 2 on the defense. 5 yards from the end of the run. Repeat, second down.
All right, we're going to take a timeout. Huskies are driving again. They lead by 14. It's David Kaplan, Tom Waddle with you here on Comcast Sports.
For over 50 years, Blaine's Farm and Fleet has been supplying families with all kinds of quality goods at low prices. And for those big bags of supplies you need for everyday life, no other store offers more. At Farm and Fleet, you'll find water softener salt, a big selection of food for your pets, lots of food for the birds, and their extensive line of agricultural feeds and supplements. You'll appreciate their tradition of convenience, quality, and value. For big bags and more, Blaine's Farm and Fleet is your store.
Announcing Max Madson's massive Mitsubishi markdown. Increased factory shipments require Max Madsen to mark down every new Driven to Thrill Mitsubishi model. Every new Galant, Eclipse, Endeavor, Spider, Lancer, Outlander, Raider pickup, even Evo, plus every pre-driven vehicle. 0% APR financing or cashback from $1,000 to $5,000 to qualified buyers. It's our biggest markdown in our 20-year history. Max Madson's massive Mitsubishi markdown.
5:12 left in the first. It is Jaden Everett who has now up in a seated position, so he looks like he's going to be okay. Linebacker, 6', 215, a junior out of Newton, Kansas. And let's take a look, Tommy, where he got hurt.
Yeah, we talk about it again. They get Garrett Wolfe involved in the passing game. There's the face mask from Brian Jackson that'll be tacked onto the end of the play.
And you can see he got hit by his own man.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. He got hit by Prenny Stokes, who's a 280-pound defensive tackle at 6'4", and you'll see it coming right there.
Yep. And I can't
that's
tell
where
you
he got hit.
How many times guys get hurt by their own people as piles are cleared.
Wolfe 5 for 55 and a touch, and 2 for 18 receiving
Two
so
catches.
far.
Again, that's huge. For this offense to be as well-rounded as they can be, he's got to be part of the passing game.
And he's got it here, and he may get to the 20-yard line. Pick up about 4 yards, maybe 3.5. Brandon Logan made the tackle.
Sycamore front seven's done a much better job than I thought they would to start this game, slowing down Garrett Wolfe. Now, granted, he's still averaging about 10 yards per carry, but they have brought him down and bottled him up in the last drive and a half.
Huskies quick to the line here. They'll give it again to Garrett Wolfe, and he'll turn the corner this time, cut it back up inside. He's got a little running room, but a real solid tackle as he crossed the 20. I think it was Andy Jones who got him around the legs.
There aren't many occasions when one guy will bring him down all by himself. They're trying to get their center and their guards and tackles out in front. They love that stretch play. Adamski and Rogers and Brose come to the left side. They also ask their wide receivers. You see Jared Carter out there trying to pick up a block. Like to stretch the field and let Garrett Wolfe use his vision to find some openings.
Big third down. They'll give it again to Garrett Wolfe. Garrett Wolfe breaks tackles. Garrett Wolfe, give him 6. Touchdown, Northern Illinois.
Well, they bottled him up for a little while. You're not going to keep Garrett Wolfe down all day long. Just a great job, this little guy. So powerful. You're not going to bring him down with an arm tackle. He finds a seam, finds his way to the outside, and again, he has got that fourth gear. He's not as fast as that first replay right there, but close to that.
Nendick again, and he's got it. He's got 103 straight. Wolfe now 8 carries, 79 yards, and a couple touches.
You'll see from behind, you'll see what Garrett Wolfe sees. Gets a great block from Brost and then just bounces to the outside. There's no chance for Kyle James to catch up with Garrett Wolfe. The O-line, just a hat on a hat, creating a seam, and Garrett Wolfe using that speed. Does a great job keeping the football on the outside shoulder and the outside arm.
Well, he just did a great job when he found the crease, just to squirt through there.
That's what you want out of your tailback. Good vision, good strength, good balance,
NIU
good speed.
Alumni Association scoring drive for the Huskies. 8 plays, 65 yards. Wolfe, a 17-yard scamper to pay dirt.
Were they celebrating my keys to the game right there, all the fans?
I think that's what they were doing. Absolutely right.
There they are.
There's a look at Garrett Wolfe. Sure, there's an NFL team would like to just go grab the 2 of them. They'll take Wolfe and Doug Free.
Sure. You know, the funny thing is, Doug Free may actually be the higher draft choice.
Definitely.
He's more of a prototypical offensive tackle, whereas Garrett Wolfe is going to have to find his spot with the team.
Nendick's kick through the back of the end zone. So Indiana State will go back on offense, trailing by 21. We're still in the first quarter. Let's take a look at Garrett Wolfe by the numbers today. There he is. He's now at 39.95.
He will close on Michael Turner
in a hurry
over the course of the season, and it's a pretty solid prediction that he will leave as the Huskies' all-time leading rusher.
And Indiana State's West will be knocked out by Ken West. No relation. Gain of 4 and a 2nd and 6.
Now the Sycamores need to establish something here on offense. Grind out a little bit of a drive and keep that clock running. Last thing they want to do is turn it over to Garrett Wolfe and Phil Horvath quickly here.
Pressure from the Huskies, and they'll get that one away. Nearly had the sack. It's the Huskies putting some pressure in a big way. Brad Benson, the nose guard, came flying in.
As we talked about it at the top of the broadcast, it's something that they finally were able to accomplish last week against Buffalo, and that's providing pressure or getting pressure on the quarterback. And they get in Riley Murphy's face there. He just has nothing to do but to get rid of the football. Great job by Brad Benson getting Murphy on the ground.
3rd and 6. Most points by a Husky team in the first quarter since the Akron game in 04. And Murphy will go down the field, and it is incomplete. Real solid coverage. And I believe that was Adriel Hansbrough there in coverage. Sam Logan, number 89, was the man the pass was intended for, and Indiana State will punt it away again. I mean, if you were sitting in Joe Novak's position, how many carries would you give Garrett Wolfe if indeed the game gets out of hand? Knowing
I wouldn't expose him to injury for sure. I mean, here is, as I said earlier.
Well, you could probably sit him now and not take a chance on losing the football game.
But you know what? You also, as I said, you have to give him an opportunity to compile some statistics that will impress the Heisman voters.
Not a good kick at all. It's going to take a Northern Illinois bounce all the way back to the 36-yard line of Indiana State.
It's about a 12-yard punt.
A 12-yard kick or thereabouts. So not a good punt there. Straight up, it goes nowhere, and you see Marcus Perez saying, get away from it. Nobody go near it. And it takes an NIU bounce.
Yeah, when you jump up in class against a stiff opponent like Northern, you cannot afford to make mistakes. They had the turnover that resulted in a touchdown. You can't punt the ball for 12 yards and give it to Garrett Wolfe on your own 36-yard line to start a drive.
Right now, NIU 115-yard total offense. Indiana State 40 yards. Horvath going to throw. Horvath looking, firing. He's got his tight end. Jake Nordine makes the catch, and that's a Northern Illinois first down.
Good way to protect your running back as well. Throw the football, get them out of those 8-man fronts. Nordine with just a sideline route.
Scooter Archie was there to knock him out of bounds.
Phil Horvath shows some arm strength there, getting the football to Nordine.
This will be Garrett Wolfe. Garrett Wolfe up the sidelines. Garrett Wolfe, and will be knocked down at the 1-yard line.
That was the proverbial you could drive a truck through that hole.
Brandon Logan knocked him down before he found the end zone, but there he goes.
Doug Free just ran his man off the field, creates a huge seam. Britt Davis gets a block out there. Look at this, Doug Free just absolutely. He may have a little bit too much of the jersey for Sean DeFaulkner to his liking, but just drives the defensive end off the field, creates some serious space for Garrett Wolfe.
Garrett Wolfe, I can promise you, is getting this football. Handoff, Wolfe, touchdown. Give him 6 more. Touchdown, Northern Illinois, 27-0.
Key to the game, do what you do best. Give it to number 1. At 5'7" and 177 pounds, Joe Novak has no qualms at all about giving the football to him on the goal line in short yardage situations.
10 carries, 102 yards, and 3 scores, and today his 9th straight 100-yard effort. Nendick's kick, perfect. That's 104, and it's 28-0 Northern Illinois. Take a look at the NIU Alumni Association Huskies scoring drive. Just 3 plays after the bad punt, 36 yards. Wolfe, a 1-yard scamper into the end zone.
And when you're undermanned, you just cannot give the football to your opponents on a short field. Garrett Wolfe, pound for pound, one of the stronger running backs in all of college football, just finds a little seam. Garrett Wolfe, 6 straight games coming into today's game of 170 yards on the ground. 6 straight 170-yard days.
It's amazing.
That is truly amazing.
Brandon Davis, I believe, was the man who had a great block in there, and it just made it so easy for him to walk basically into the end zone. Most points in the first quarter now since 2004.
He looks like he feels better than the last time we saw him.
No cheese, Tom.
Last time we saw him on the bench, he was
using the garbage can.
Yeah, he was giving back his breakfast.
No cheese today, Tommy.
No cheese.
You said that you didn't eat because you were afraid of...
I didn't eat a whole lot. No.
You were afraid of Ditka.
I was afraid of a lot. I'm afraid Indiana State may be beaten by 100 if they don't do something positive on offense here soon.
Nendick's kick. This one will come down 6-7 yards deep in the end zone. And Berman says no thank you. He will down it. And Indiana State back on the attack. 1st and 10 at their own 20, and they're 28 down, and we're still in the first quarter.
Well, I love what that young man right there can do on the football field, but I love his attitude as well.
He just acts like he's been there before.
And he's the first one to step forward and say, hey, listen, I'm having the success I'm having because of the guys in front of me. That offensive line has been fantastic, and they have over the last 3 years, and boy, he has put up some serious numbers.
Tony West will take that handoff and crack his way for maybe a 3-yard gain. Keenan Blaylar, Craig Rush among the Huskies there on the tackles, bringing up a 2nd and 7. Indiana State 43 yards of offense, 15 plays, a turnover, and 3 punts.
Yeah, that tells the story.
Option pitch, they'll toss it to the wide receiver, and he is smashed, belted down. Melvin Rice came up, I believe, to make that hit on Sam Logan.
Dustin Utchek, the first to get a hand on Sam Logan.
There's the
You'll
toss.
See Utchek grab a leg, and then Melvin Rice comes in and cleans the pile. Melvin Rice does a nice job shutting the block of Brian Jackson.
Pass is incomplete, thrown behind Logan. And that means the Indiana State punt team, although we have a flag on the play.
That'll be declined. That's holding on the offensive line.
We'll look at Lou West, head coach at Indiana State.
Holding, number 77 on the offense. Penalty is declined, 4th down.
Well, Lou's seen this show before as the defensive coordinator for Toledo 2001 through 2004. He got an up close and personal look at this Husky offense, what they try to do, and in particular Garrett Wolfe. So he knew what his Sycamores were up against today. Certainly an uphill battle.
Marcus Perez is the deep man. This is the 4th punt already for Chris Johansson. Snap, no rush, kick is away. Real good punt this time, coming down at the 33. Marcus Perez has an alley. Marcus Perez up the sideline. Marcus Perez, one man to beat, and the punter forces him back into traffic. But a huge return, 1st and 10, Northern Illinois, right at the Indiana State 25, and there's Mr. Wolfe.
This is the 2nd time we've seen Marcus Perez brought down by a punter.
Well, I think Goodrich may come in here and clean up, as you say, clean up the pile.
Just again, a great job by the special teams, the punt return team, creating a huge alley to run. And Marcus Perez just being an athlete right there. But here comes the punter. Now listen, you just run that punter over, will you?
Horvath is going to go down in a heap. Sacked by Shonda Faulkner.
Yeah, Shonda Faulkner just got the best of Doug Free on that play. You don't see Doug Free give up many sacks, especially to an undersized defensive end. Shonda Faulkner, 6'1", 215 pounds. Just gets underneath Doug Free and gets to Horvath for the sack.
And 1 quarter is in the books, and it's a big quarter for NIU. The Northern Illinois Huskies explode for 28 points, and they've held Indiana State Sycamores in check. Garrett Wolfe off for a huge start. How big will he go? We'll find out after this on Comcast Sports Net.
Team up with the Huskies. Join the Husky Athletic Scholarship Fund today, where your financial support assists in providing a world-class academic and athletic experience for 488 student athletes.
54 COSIDA Academic All-Americans.
Highest department GPA in the history of NIU athletics.
MAC West champions in football and men's basketball.
We can't reach our goals without the help of the Husky Athletic Scholarship Fund members.
Call 815-753-1923 for information on joining the HASF.
Ask a few of your friends what they thought after having LASIK eye surgery at the Hauser-Ross Eye Institute, and you might hear something like this.
Yeah, it's one of those things that until afterward, I don't know how I got along without it.
You know, my biggest question for my doctor at Hauser-Ross was, why did I wait so long to do this?
Find out why so many people have trusted the Hauser-Ross Eye Institute for LASIK eye surgery. Call 1-800-CHECKUP today.
There'll be none of this, or this, or this, but lots of this. We're a lean, mean dealing machine at Schaumburg Honda Automobiles.
Get 4.9 APR for 24 to 60 months now.
There's only one, Bob Royman.
You owe it to yourself. The Midwest #1 volume Honda dealer, Bob Royman Schaumburg Honda Automobiles, just 8 blocks west of Woodfield Mall on Gulf Road.
All right, second quarter action ready to get going here. NIU in business, second down at the 30-yard line. A 2nd and 15 after the sack of Horvath.
You brought your calculator today, didn't you?
I hope.
You may need it.
Horvath 5 of 6 for 50 yards. Garrett Wolfe 11 for 104.
You've already got both shoes off, counting with your toes.
And Garrett Wolfe will be knocked down after a gain of maybe 4. Scooter Archie made the tackle. First quarter stats. Wow. 101-22, 50-23, 10-1. That tells the story. And NIU a 28-point lead down to our sideline man, Mark Scafidi.
Now, Tommy talks a lot about Doug Free being a possible first-round pick. Now, I asked Doug this week at practice if he's talked to the all-pro lineman, possibly for the Indianapolis Colts, Ryan Diem, another former Husky, and he said no. I said, why don't you guys try and hook up, get together, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be as good as Ryan Diem in a couple years for the Colts.
Well, he certainly could get some serious knowledge from Ryan Diem. He's had a great career with the Colts so far. I think Doug Free's going to have a nice long career in the National Football League. I have to tell you, though.
He's going to be a lot bigger than that, too. You can tell there's room for him to expand.
At 6'7" and 312 pounds, much as it may sound foolish, he does have room to expand, yes.
He's not what you call one of the big, huge-looking guys. He's just a big man.
Yeah, you're right. And again, Garrett Wolfe with his 3rd catch of the day. That is huge.
Garrett Wolfe turns the corner and is knocked down right around the 5-yard line. In fact, they'll call it the 6-yard line.
First 3 weeks of the season, we saw Garrett Wolfe basically become a blocking back in all passing situations. I take that back in Ohio State. He had 5 catches for 114 yards, but then against Ohio University in Buffalo, really was not involved in the passing game. That's not good because he's so elusive out in open space with the ball in his hand, so you want him a part of your passing game. And B, you don't want him to be your quarterback protector and blitz pickup.
Handling big guys.
You'll get him hurt out there.
Garrett Wolfe turns the corner. He's going to the end zone. Touchdown, Garrett Wolfe. Give him 6 for Northern Illinois.
Well, you see the Sycamore defenders walking slowly now. Gotten maybe a little more than they bargained for. Maybe they got just exactly what they were bargained for, and it's just way too much.
That gives him 119 yards and 4 scores here, and we're just at the start of quarter 2, and another 33 in receiving. Nendick nails the extra point, and Northern Illinois has blown this thing wide open, 35-0.
We talked about it earlier, you could drive a truck through this hole. You see a great block on the edge by Mark Adamski pulling from the center position. And there's just no defender out there that's going to get Garrett Wolfe. See Jake Nordine pick up a block. Eddie Adamski, the center, pulling from his center position. You don't see a ton of that in college football. Most centers are not athletically skilled enough to be able to get out on the edge and pull. But that's what they've done here at Northern. They've asked their centers to do that. Brian Van Acker did it for years and did it quite well. He's graduated. Looks like Eddie Adamski's filling in nicely.
There is the NIU Alumni Association Huskies scoring drive. 5 plays, 25 yards. Took a Minute 50 to complete, and Wolfe does the honors with a 6-yard TD run.
A balancing act for Joe Novak right now. We've talked about it a bunch already. You have to get Garrett Wolfe his numbers because he is a legitimate Heisman candidate. You don't want to get him injured, so you don't want to have him out there all 60 minutes. And at the same time, Joe Novak's one of the classiest head coaches in all of college football. You don't want to run the score up on a team that is jumping way up in class.
This one will come out in the back of the end zone. It will be downed again. So Nendick's kicks are definitely making it tough for Indiana State to get a return. They will have it at the 20, and he's got a brand new scoring record with 105 consecutive PATs. Tomorrow, get a complete recap, Tommy, of the Bears-Vikings showdown on U.S. Cellular Bears post-game live. Pat Boyle, former Bears Richard Dent, Jerry Azuma, and Dan Jiggets break down all the action. Plus, William Jackson brings you interviews with the players. U.S. Cellular Bears post-game live tomorrow, immediately after the Bears game, only on Comcast Sportsnet.
Billy Jack mixing it up deep inside the Metrodome after the game.
That's exactly right. And West will go nowhere. Tony West, 5'9", 175, a junior, had 217 a week ago against Murray State. But that one is stopped big time. Corey Hansen, Larry English, the men who made the tackle.
A good opportunity for this Husky defense to build a little confidence as they go into some serious MAC conference play next week.
Now the NCAA TD record. Do you know who holds that, Tom? Former NFL player out of this state. There's the pass and a real good tackle by Hansbrough.
Former NFL player out of this state. Brandon Jacobs from Southern Illinois.
Incorrect. Think Big Ten. There's a number on the Sycamore offense.
Jim Grabowski from Illinois.
Right school, wrong guy. The answer would be Howard Griffith, former Bronco, 8 touchdowns playing for the University of Illinois in 1 game. Can Garrett Wolfe get there? Pressure coming, pass away, it is caught, and it will be short of a first down on a 3rd and 8. So Indiana State is going to punt the football away again. Alexander Thomas made the catch.
Yeah, Alex Thomas with a nice effort. Also good effort from Riley Murphy evading the rush. Alex Crutch coming in, providing the pressure. Murphy able to get the ball away. Nice catch and effort by Thomas, just not enough for the first down. Yeah, Joe Novak's got to be happy with what he's seen from his defense so far. They have gotten to Murphy at times. He disrupted that Sycamore passing game.
Joe Hansen again in the punt. Punt number 5 for him. Driving kick all the way back near the 20. Perez going to try and cut it up. Makes one man miss, and now he goes down at the 21-yard line. So this is the first opportunity for Garrett Wolfe to have a pretty long field to work with. We're going to take a timeout. Huskies by 35 early 2nd quarter.
Husky fans, Fatty's Pub and Grill in DeKalb is your official pre- and post-game NIU football headquarters. Whether you're catching a game on our big screens or having some of our famous grilled food out in our beer garden, Fatty's is the place to be. Join us on October 21st for Fatty's Centennial Homecoming Outdoor Tent Party with Trippin' Billy's playing live on stage after the game. For more information, log on to fattyspub.com. It's all at Fatty's Pub and Grill, located directly south of Husky Stadium on Route 38 in DeKalb.
Jewel, it's the fresh way we trim, slice, serve, the fresh way we grind, prepare, fish. It's offering the freshest variety, the best poultry, beef, pork, seafood that's oh so fresh, and help from our experts in store. Top quality, great service, all fresh to your family from Jewel.
35-0 Northern Illinois over Indiana State. 11:16 to go in the 2nd. There's Joe Novak, the fine head coach at NIU.
Can't tell whether he's happy or sad at any time.
No, he
stays
the
on
only
that
time I've
nice,
ever seen him
even
show
keel.
emotion was at the end of the Maryland game in 03. Maryland was ranked 13th. Huskies opened the season with a convincing win in overtime. Really showed they belonged and started that season with a tremendous run. And Britt Davis belted right at the line of scrimmage off a wide receiver screen, and he will go nowhere, and it should be a 2nd and 10. Let's take a look at Joe Novak's numbers. 8 and 36 to get it going with a 23-game losing streak, and since then, absolutely stellar once he was able to build the program and get some recruits in here. Won a bowl game in 04, in the MAC title game in 05, looking picked to win the MAC this year.
And looking for his 7th consecutive winning season.
Hand off to Garrett Wolfe. He'll turn the corner, be knocked down around the 26, 27-yard line, but he'll pick up another chunk of 6 yards. 3rd and 4 is coming up. John Goodrich, number 95, came over and made the hit.
Huskies again running the ball into the boundary. Wolfe gets a nice block from his right guard, Matt Rogers. The Sycamores do a nice job limiting to just a few yards on the carry. Certainly a lot to cheer about so far.
Horvath gonna roll, gonna throw, finds Perez, first down NIU. That was a well-designed play.
It was. Try to get the flow of the defense going left. Everyone's got to honor the play fake to Garrett Wolfe. Marcus Perez just runs a little hitch route. Phil Horvath continues his improved accuracy today. Slow start to the season, but
don't forget, a year ago, until he was injured, through 9 games, he was the most efficient quarterback in Division I football.
And had the highest completion percentage as well, at 71%.
Garrett Wolfe hit in the backfield, will fall forward and gain maybe 2 yards. So he made something out of nothing.
How many brilliant 1- and 2-yard runs have we seen here in DeKalb over the last 2 or 3 years?
It's unbelievable what he's able to do.
Some of the most exciting 1-yard runs in the history of college football. Again, at times this Sycamore defense has had some success slowing Garrett Wolfe down, but then he'll pop the long one and make him pay.
Garrett Wolfe drives his feet, gets to the 40-yard line on 2nd and 9. It'll bring up 3rd and nearly 5. We'll see where they spot it.
I think you'll
call
see
it a long 4.
Garrett Wolfe run the ball in very controlled fashion today. And by that, I don't mean he's not going to run hard or he's not going to try to gain yards. I just don't think he's going to expose himself with a 35-zip lead, expose himself to any unnecessary punishment.
3rd and 4, Horvath looking, dumps it off to Garrett Wolfe. Garrett Wolfe will cut it inside. Garrett Wolfe will have a first down.
Well, I really like what offensive coordinator John Bond is doing right now.
Eris Shaw made the tackle.
You have to maximize the productivity of Garrett Wolfe, and you can't just hand it to him. You got to get it to him in the passing game on the edge. This is just an extension of the running game. Just a little bit of a screen pass. Again, gets a great block from his center, Eddie Adamski, pulling. But they've just done a nice job mixing it up, running pass with Garrett Wolfe today.
And this will be Justin Anderson in to give Garrett Wolfe a quick breather. Montel Clanton, who had a big day last week, is out with an injury.
Montel Clanton came in averaging 8.5 yards per carry himself prior to the injury. And again, they don't change their game plan. They're going to get their center and their backside guard out in front to lead that play and let all of their backs use their vision and their speed.
A 2nd and 6 situation. Horvath will hand it off again. And again, Brandon Logan will be the man that comes over and makes the hit on Justin Anderson. Anderson's 5'11", 203, and just a freshman.
Good opportunity for him to get some experience. God forbid Garrett Wolfe go down with an injury for any time at all. And with Clanton already on the shelf, you have to have depth at the running back position. Be honest with you, I would be surprised if you see a whole lot of Garrett Wolfe in the second half of this ball game.
Horvath looking, firing, incomplete. That was intended for Britt Davis. And it's a 4th down situation. Do you bring Garrett Wolfe back out and go for it?
Well, I think you've got to feel good about your defense, so 4th and 3 doesn't really bother you. This is just a bad throw by Phil Horvath. Britt Davis has got the first down. The ball's just thrown on the wrong shoulder. So
and they will punt it away. Andy Dittbenner.
Again, I think this is, you know, Joe Novak
being classy.
Exactly. Exercising some class.
Sam Logan is the deep man for the Sycamores. The punt, a high spiraling kick, and will be caught at the 8-yard line. So 35-0, 6:47 to go here. First half, it is all Huskies.
The verdict is in. The College of Law at Northern Illinois University is one of the nation's most respected law schools. At NIU Law, top students are part of a tight-knit, dynamic, and diverse learning community. Small classes give them unmatched access to some of the best legal scholars in the country, and state-of-the-art technology prepares them for today's courtrooms. Many NIU Law students even get hands-on legal practice before they graduate. That's why so many successful lawyers and judges hold degrees from the NIU College of Law. NIU Law. Discover the difference.
Menards is the place where you'll always save big money on quality products for your home. Moen kitchen pull-out faucets are on sale. Choose from this chrome or white pull-out faucet, only $79 each. Plus, all Reveal light bulbs are now on sale. They filter out the yellow light rays for crisp, clean, natural-looking light. A general purpose 4-pack is $199. A decor 2-pack is $239, and a 65-watt flood bulb is just $399.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey Husky fans, shop online for all the latest Husky merchandise at niubookstore.niu.edu. We carry the best brands: Gear, Jansport, Russell, Vantage, Zephyr, and more. Shop any of our 3 locations: the Home Student Center, the Convocation Center, and our newest location at the Barcema Alumni and Visitor Center. Open 3 hours before game time for every home game. For the best Husky gear selection and prices, stop by today or shop online at niubookstore.niu.edu. That's niubookstore.niu.edu.
All right, 6:47 to go. David Kaplan, Tom Waddle, and Mark Scafidi with you in DeKalb, Illinois. Brigham Field at Huskies Stadium. The Huskies in command today against Indiana State's Sycamores. 35-0 with about 6.5 to go, second quarter. And that will be the big question. Garrett Wolfe has, obviously the team comes first, but something that he is obviously trying to achieve is a Heisman Trophy.
Well, not just Garrett Wolfe, but also this Northern Illinois program. The tremendous exposure that having a legitimate Heisman candidate brings to your program is, you just can't even put a value on it. It's huge.
Brian Jackson was the intended receiver on that throw.
I do believe
Riley Murphy, and he cannot make the catch.
I believe they'll try to get Garrett Wolfe to about 200 yards and then sit him down. Good throw here by Riley Murphy. Just a play that has to be made by Brian Jackson. Again, when you're jumping up in class, you cannot afford the self-inflicted wounds.
The throw in traffic, caught, but it will be short of a first down on 3rd and 4. See, and that's something you were very good at. Was that your receivers coach, Vic Rapp, teaching it? Was it Ditka demanding it? You never seemed to run a route on 3rd and 4 that was 3 yards.
Yeah, sometimes the defense will dictate how far you run your route, but yeah, they're going to give them the first down. But if you've got 3rd and 4, you better find a way to get to 5-6 yards. Making a catch for 3 yards at 3rd and 4 doesn't create a happy environment with your offensive coordinator or your head coach.
And they do say he had enough for the first down. So give Indiana State their second first down of the day. Riley Murphy to the air. Going to throw. It is completed, and he is belted down by Melvin Rice. Carl Berman made the catch. Melvin Rice smacked him.
Melvin Rice rattling some teeth today. Just a little hitch route. He gets a hand on Brian Jackson, who's going deep. And he pounds Carl Berman.
Back to live action. Tossed down, and it is broken broken up by Dustin Utchick, who made one heck of a break on the ball. And a flag comes flying. Do we have a hold in the backfield? No, we are going to have an unnecessary roughness, I believe roughing the passer on Northern Illinois.
Oh, Utchick, that's a shame. Utchick made a great play coming in, knocking the ball away. Riley Murphy put a little too much air on it, but Utchick, good feel for it. Just a little corner route. He was pressured. Ball hangs in the air a little bit.
They're going to get Craig Rush for the penalty, and I could not tell from that replay.
But look, maybe it was helmet-to-helmet contact. Because Crutch had hit Murphy as he was delivering the football.
And this time, there's going to be a sack. Did the football come loose? That is the question.
They threw the beanbag, which is the indication that the ball's free. I think the linesman ruled him down.
And they will keep it with Indiana State. Anthony Antonacci and Craig Rush involved in that pileup.
Again, the Huskies bring some heat. Good coverage downfield.
It looked like Kenny West was the man that fell on the football, but he may have been down already. Murphy going down the middle of the field, throws it high, and it is incomplete. Keenan Blaylark was there in coverage, pass intended for number 9, Carl Berman, and it's a 3rd and 13 at the 4:28 mark.
Yeah, he's got to get that ball down. Riley Murphy hanging some of his receivers out to dry. One way to end up tonight's party, standing by yourself in a corner, is keep throwing the ball high to your wide receivers.
And we are starting to get rain now here in DeKalb. Murphy pressured. Murphy, the football's loose. It is picked up by Northern Illinois. And they are going to have a 1st and goal situation. Anthony Antonacci, number 97, the man who was there along with Larry English, who stripped it free.
Well, the pass rush has come.
Along with the rain.
Along with the rain. Riley Murphy's getting pounded at this point.
There's Murphy, Tommy, he's running for his life.
Just a good stump by Larry English. Creates the pressure. Just a great hustle sack. They're going to look at this to see whether or not Murphy's arm is going forward.
His arm and his hand may have been coming forward.
Pretty athletic move.
It was for the big fella, Anthony Antonacci.
I don't think the arm ever started going forward.
He's a redshirt freshman, 6'1", 250 out of Neuqua Valley.
That ball comes loose prior to Murphy's arm coming forward. I think this play's going to stand as a turnover and a recovery by the Huskies.
Now that brief rain shower has subsided, but we do know the White Sox were under a very lengthy delay this afternoon, and the rain was moving this way.
You see Lou West right now expressing himself. Not real happy with his team right now. Yeah, that play's going to stand. First and 10 Huskies. Actually, 1st and goal.
At the end of one, Central Michigan Eastern Michigan.
1st and 10.
Garrett Wolfe back on the field.
Riley Murphy adding injury to insult.
Garrett Wolfe looking for his 5th touchdown of the day. Horvath going to give it to Garrett Wolfe, and he's belted in the backfield. Loss of a yard on the play. Scooter Archie with a solid play.
Scooter Archie did a fantastic job timing that snap. Just comes from a blitz in the outside and makes a great tackle of Garrett Wolfe.
1 yard on the play. Second down and 11.
2nd and 11 at the 12. Britt Davis now at quarterback. Horvath split out. Britt Davis going to turn the corner, and Britt Davis will be turned back at the 10. So really doesn't do much again with that play.
That's why you don't split your quarterback out wide and ask him to block. You'll see here Britt Davis had some room to run until Phil Horvath misses that block right there. That play's blown up because Phil doesn't get his block. You see him thrown to the ground. Good job by Kyle James from the
Get off of me, quarterback.
Kyle would have some hell to pay in meetings tomorrow if he hadn't done that.
Brenny Stokes among the white and blue Sycamores that made the tackle. Horvath looking, and down he goes. Belted at the 15 by Donye McCleskey.
Well, the most impressive part of this play is that Phil Horvath hangs on to the football. Great sack, but watch Phil Horvath hang on to that football.
Yeah, and it's a wet football.
Well, and he's hit, he's blindsided. He doesn't see the hit coming, and he's still able to hang on to the ball.
Chris Nendick, 32-yard field goal attempt.
Good stand by the Sycamore defense.
Set, kick, rises through the uprights, and it is good. And NIU grabs a 38-0 lead. Scoreboard says 36. It's 38-0 NIU.
Hey Husky fans, shop online for all the latest Husky merchandise at niubookstore.niu.edu. We carry the best brands: Gear, Jansport, Russell, Vantage, Zephyr, and more. Shop any of our 3 locations: the Home Student Center, the Convocation Center, and our newest location at the Barcima Alumni and Visitor Center. Open 3 hours before game time for every home game. For the best Husky gear selection and prices, stop by today or shop online at niubookstore.niu.edu. That's niubookstore.niu.edu.
Georgia over Colorado
38-0 NIU after that field goal from Chris Nendick. 1:58 left. Coming up at the half, Mark Scafidi will talk with former Huskies broadcaster who is retiring, Sid Simmons, after 22 years. We'll have stats, we'll have highlights, and the always awesome analysis from my little buddy Tom Waddle, who will tell us what will happen in the second half. The NIU Alumni Association Huskies scoring drive, 4 plays, 2 yards, but it took 2:20. Nendick, a 32-yard chip shot field goal.
Actually, the Sycamore defense played pretty well on that drive.
Yes, they did.
Held the Huskies to a field goal after turning the football over.
Nendick's kick, another high driving one, but this one will come down at the 2. And this time, Berman's going to bring it out, and Berman has a real good return all the way out across the 35-yard line. Best field position of the day for Indiana State. They'll see if they can get some type of momentum going with a $1:45 left in the first half.
Well, when the highlight of your day so far is a 35-yard kickoff return, you know it's been a tough 30 minutes of football. But just a great individual effort.
Driving his legs. Riley Murphy looking, and he tries to shovel it, and it's incomplete. Gutty play as he was going down, but just could not get it to his tailback, Tony West. Eric Pittman was wrapping him up.
Yeah, Riley Murphy's already been banged up. You see he's got his right hand taped. He had his nose attended to in the last timeout. Good decision. Not real pretty, but saved himself a sack and a negative play.
Kid hangs in there, though. He really does. And this time it's Tony West breaking tackles, and Tony West into Northern Illinois territory first time today, and out to the 45.
He's a good little running back. Similar size to Garrett Wolfe, 5'9", 175. Came into today averaging 140 yards per game on the ground. Quick hitter, and then he's good in space as well. Finds a way to leave Dustin unchecked.
And a handoff again. This time it's Darius Gates. He'll rip off a nice chunk of yardage.
Sycamores would like to do something positive here, get some points on the board, whether it's a touchdown or a field goal, go into the half feeling a little better about themselves.
Handoff inside will move the chains again. Darius Gates. Craig Rush was among the tacklers. Gates, a bit of a homecoming for him. Country Club Hills, Illinois, 5'9", 175, a junior.
Sounds like a nice place to grow up, Country Club Hills.
Absolutely. And again,
tell you what, Melvin
Darius
Rice.
Gates. Melvin Rice, another big hit.
He's a safety playing a cornerback position, where he has a safety mentality.
We need 4 yards on the play. It's second down and 6 from the Huskies 28.
Second and 6 at the NIU 28. Again, it'll be Darius Gates, and again, he will move the pile and be very near a first down, but I think he'll be about a yard and a half short.
Not a bad decision. They've had some success running the football. They've got all 3 timeouts left. They'll use one right now, but 34 seconds left to play and a couple of timeouts to spend. Not a bad decision to run the football.
3rd and 1 situation. You look at Lou West.
Well, it's been a rough 30 minutes for Riley Murphy.
Yes, it has.
Got the cotton in his nose like a boxer. Got his right hand taped up. Not sure how well he's breathing right now. And honestly tell you, I've never had a couple of cotton balls jammed up my nose and
with all the beating you
with
took,
a mouthpiece in my mouth as well, trying to breathe. I didn't even wear a mouthpiece because I couldn't breathe well.
You did not wear a mouthpiece.
Did not wear a mouthpiece.
Didn't wear thigh pads. Didn't wear hip pads.
Mom and Dad in Cincinnati probably not real proud to hear that, but
it's the same guy who played shortstop without a cup. Not a real intelligent young man next to me at times.
Some will tell you playing shortstop, not wearing a cup is more dangerous than playing NFL football without a mouthpiece.
Well, that's what amazed me.
As our good friend Mark Grace has said, he doesn't watch baseball on TV without wearing a cup.
Dan Hampton said he doesn't know one professional football player that ever wore a cup. I was shocked by that. And there's going to be a false start penalty coming up here on Indiana State. So they will move back and make it 3rd and 6.
We're using
start number 66 on the offense. 5 yards, succeeding spot. Remains 3rd down.
We're in trouble because we're using our 4th quarter material in the 2nd quarter.
Yes, we are.
Anthony Bullock just a little bit antsy.
Just a bit.
Go from 3rd and 1 to 3rd and 6. That will drive a head coach crazy.
Anthony, a 6'6", 340-pound senior out of Chicago. Riley Murphy going to hand it off, and a real nice tackle, I believe.
I think Freddie Keebler made that tackle.
The turf elf?
The turf elf.
Somebody got a hand in there and tripped him up. Timeout Indiana State at 27.8 seconds left.
He actually tripped over his center, Mike Thorpe. He had some room to run as well.
I saw Benson come over. Is that one of those trying to claim the tackle?
Yeah.
So you get it off the films?
That's akin to pile diving.
Oh, did you see that guy come flying in? Give him a half a tackle. And they're going to try the field goal. Kyle Hooper, 43-yard attempt for the left-footed kicker. Snap, set, kick is up, and it is no good. He pushed it wide left. So with 22 seconds left, NIU is going to go into the locker room, it appears, with a 38-0 lead.
Just has not been a good half of football for Lou West and his guys.
Will we see Garrett Wolfe in the second half?
Maybe the first drive, but then I think Joe Novak's going to sit him and make sure he doesn't get injured.
There's the kick, has plenty of leg, and just a bit left. And that will do it for us here in the first half. All NIU. Big half for Garrett Wolfe and NIU as they lead it 38-0. 4 scores for Garrett Wolfe. And Mark Scaffidi's going to catch up here in just a moment with Joe Novak and get his thoughts on what he has to be very pleased about in the first half. And we'll hear what he has to say, and I'm sure the question will be asked by Mark how much Garrett Wolfe plays in the second half. And let's go down to the field, and here is Coach Novak with Mark.
All right, thanks, Coach. Coach, that was a pretty impressive first half. What do you have for an encore in the second half?
Well, we need to continue, as we say, Mark, keep the hammer down. We got to keep playing and pushing. And this team, you know, I know they struggled here in the first half, but they score points quickly. So we just got to come out and play again well.
And Garrett Wolfe had an incredible first half. What are the plans for him in the second half?
Well, I don't know yet. We'll go in there and talk and see. We still got some football to play. Game isn't over yet.
All right, good luck, Coach. All right, guys, back up to you in the booth.
All right, thanks, Mark. So I think you'll see some Garrett Wolfe. You won't see him running the sidelines, I'm sure, in the fourth quarter, but you will see some Garrett Wolfe, I would think, in the second half. So stick around. Best back in America is on display here in DeKalb. Huskies, a big 38-0 lead over the Indiana State Sycamores. Should be a real interesting second half from a Garrett Wolfe perspective, if not a scoreboard perspective. Halftime's coming up right here on Comcast Sportsnet.
Team up with the Huskies. Join the Husky Athletic Scholarship Fund today, where your financial support assists in providing a world-class academic and athletic experience for 488 student athletes.
54 COSIDA Academic All-Americans. Highest department GPA in the history of NIU athletics.
MAC West champions in football and men's basketball.
We can't reach our goals without the help of the Husky Athletic Scholarship Fund members.
Call 815-753-1923 for information on joining the HASF.
Stop on in, we've got what you need. Stop on in, you're on the run.
At Casey's, we don't do thin and skimpy pizzas. Casey's piles them up real heavy. All month, get free cheese breadsticks with the purchase of any large pizza. Come in now and enter to win the Snickers Casey's Super Bowl Celebration Sweepstakes. You and a friend could end up at Super Bowl 41 in Miami.
Stop on in to Casey's General Store.
Wouldn't it be great if you never had to clean your gutters again? Get a no-clog gutter system from Empire today. Our unique seamless design prevents leaves and debris from ever getting into your gutters. You'll never have clogged gutters again, guaranteed, or we'll clean them for you free. Save with manufacturer direct prices, plus make no payments till 2008. So get your mind out of the gutter. Call Empire today.
800-588-2300 Empire.
You got plans tonight? Catching up on some Bobby Builder. Quality time with the family, huh? Something like that. You know, I'm kind of a big fan of the Can-Do crew myself. You want to watch some Bob with me? You know, I've got a birthday thing. I'm around.
Sprout shows your kids are talking about. Ready to watch anytime. On demand with Comcast Digital Cable. It's Comcastic.
Love saving 23% over AT&T. Switch to Comcast Digital Voice and get unlimited local and long distance with 12 great calling features plus voicemail for just $39.95 a month. Comcast Digital Voice. It's Comcastic. Sign up today and get your first month free. Call 1-800-COMCAST.
Welcome back to Husky Stadium, where Northern Illinois leads Indiana State 38-0 at the half. Welcome down to the sidelines. I'm joined now by legendary radio man for Northern Illinois University, Sid Simmons, who spent 22 years on the sidelines calling games for Northern. Sid, what do you think about the game so far?
Well, I'll tell you, I had a feeling it was going to be a blowout after that first offensive play. You know, when Indiana State got the ball and thought they were going to be able to move down the field, their first play, they threw that lateral, went in for a touchdown. You could just see the wind come out of their sails. You know, it was all gone. But about this legend stuff, I don't know. Maybe a legend in his own mind comes to mind. I don't know about that. But it was 22 great years, Mark. It really was. You know, and I remember when you were out there playing. It wasn't that long ago. Well, maybe it was that long ago, but I think, now, were you Joe Novak's first year? Is that when you were here?
Yeah, I came right in the second year, right in the midst of the 23-game losing streak.
Oh, yes.
So things have gotten a lot better since I was here. What are some of the positives that you've seen from then to now? What are some of the things, the biggest things that have changed?
Oh, guys, when Joe Novak came in, I mean, the cupboard was bare. You remember that. And he lost a lot of players because they didn't want to adopt his program. And he literally started from scratch, and he had to play freshmen. And guys like Justin McCarrans and Ryan Diem, he didn't get to redshirt those guys. Or if they'd have been redshirt seniors, they'd have been unbelievable players. They were very fantastic as it was. But he had to play a lot of freshmen, brought the program a long way. On his fourth year right there, you know, he was kind of on the line. That's when Dr. Peters came in as the new president, and he saw what the record was in football for 4 years there. We're under 500. And at that time, the athletic director was Carrie Groth, and she talked the president into sticking with him at least one more year, and that's when he came up with that 6-5 record, and he hasn't looked back ever since. It's just been a fantastic career for Joe Novak. I kind of hope the guy hangs around for a long time, but I just saw him as he was walking off the field, you know, and he says, "You look pretty unstressful." And I said, "Exactly." He says, "I'm going to be there one of these days." So, but you'd like to see Joe Novak hang around a long time because the program has come a long way.
Now, you're retired right now. What are you doing in your spare time?
Oh, you're looking at it. not a whole lot. I have 4 grandkids, actually about 4 and a half. I have another one that's due in January. But my son lives down in Arlington, Texas, and he has 2 grandsons. They're 11 and 9. And then my daughter lives in Atlanta, and I have 2 granddaughters, 3 and a half and 2, and then 1 in the oven there. So I'll get to spend more time down in Texas and Georgia, and I'm looking forward to that.
And now, this facility-wise here, things have come a long way with the Convocation Center, the new AAPC. What's the biggest thing that you've seen change facility-wise in your 22 years?
Oh, it's certainly the Convocation Center. When Dr. Peters came, there was none of that was here. And he put on the hard hat, and the next thing you know, here's the Convocation Center. Now, of course, they have the big facility coming here in the north end zone, and the fundraising that he's done has just been fantastic. And Jim Phillips, you know, has played a big part of that. You know, that's kind of his forte, is raising money, and he's done a fantastic job. Also, the Barcema Center, you know, that wasn't here before, and that's now a fruitation. So it's been unbelievable.
Now, you've been around here a long time and seen a lot of great players like McCarrans, Diem, LaShawn Johnson. Where does Garrett Wolfe rank on that list?
Oh, Garrett Wolfe's fantastic. He sees the field so well. He's so quick. Now, you know, as far as going up to the next level, you know, that's asking a lot because of his size. But he certainly is very quick. He might be the type of guy that maybe could run back punts, you know, or be a kickoff return guy, be a specialist in the NFL. But because of his quickness and speed and the way he sees the field, I think they'll find a spot for him somewhere. He's very good.
All right, Sid, enjoy your retirement. Thanks for being our guest. We'll be back here after the break to get scores and highlights of the Northern Illinois Huskies up 30.
You know, there are some things families just don't like to share. They don't want to share this. Or this. Or, these. Or this. That's why with U.S. Cellular's family plan, everyone in the family gets their own phone. Plus, they can talk to each other free. Speaking of which, does anyone want to talk about these? Oh, those are Dwayne's! See, you thought you lost them.
U.S. Cellular, we connect with you. Right now, get up to 4 free phones when you buy one for only $29.95.
At Jewel, it's the fresh way we trim, slice, serve, the fresh way we grind, prepare, fish. It's offering the freshest variety, the best poultry, beef, pork, seafood that's oh so fresh, and help from our experts in store. Top quality, great service, all fresh to your family from Jewel.
Advance your career with an MBA from Northern Illinois University.
I was able to balance my MBA with my professional life as well as my personal life. And best of all, NIU's MBA program is AACSB accredited and affordable.
I was impressed with the knowledge and experience of the professors, and the program provided me with a well-rounded business education. The affordability and convenient locations made my decision easy, and it made my MBA a reality.
Designed for the working professional, the MBA program at Northern Illinois University. Jumpstart your career today.
NIU, serving the heart of America's heartland. Educating new leaders for the nation's 3rd largest region. Bringing expertise and innovation to communities and public schools. creating new jobs and new workers, conducting research that improves our quality of life. Northern Illinois University. Across the region, from Chicago to the Mississippi, NIU works.
All design begins with a single line. A line that challenges. A line that creates power, or control, or size. At Infinity, a line has been drawn.
Hey there, Chuck Arfine inside our Comcast Sportsnet studio. We'll get you back out to the second half of the game in just a bit, but here's what's happening in the world of sports. For a team hoping to get to the Super Bowl, the Bears' first two games were super. But after wins over winless Green Bay and Detroit, the Bears know their biggest test comes Sunday against 2-0 Minnesota. The Bears have not won at the Metrodome since 2001. Friday, Lovie Smith and the staff blasted music during practice to recreate some of the decibels the Bears will likely hear on Sunday.
That's what we normally do when we go on the road. We have a couple days where we pump in the noise to get the offensive guys used to communicating when they can't hear a lot.
Do you use a lot more hand signals?
Hand is a basic part of what we do. We bark it out, signals the work.
It's a tough place to play. You know, they're tough at home. The crowd is into the game, the whole game. They're just hard to beat at home. You know, division games are always hard to win on the road, especially up there. When we're on the field, it doesn't bother us. Because I know home games are tough for me because our crowd's so into the game. It's hard for me to communicate with the defense. So I know it's more at home, but on the road, it's quiet. When they're on offense, it's quiet, which we like. So it's easier for us to communicate.
And remember, as soon as the game ends, switch over to Comcast Sportsnet for the best post-game coverage anywhere on Bears Postgame Live. Pat Boyle, Dan Jiggetts, Richard Dent, Jerry Azuma will break down the game, and we'll have a reaction from Lovie Smith and the guys. That is going to do it from here. Don't forget to tune in to Jim Beam Sports Night tonight for all the post-game reaction from the Sox and Mariners, plus highlights from today's big games in college football. I'm Chuck Arfine. Enjoy the second half between Indiana State and Northern Illinois.
All design begins with a single line. A line that challenges. A line that creates power, or control, or size. At Infinity, a line has been drawn.
Nothing at the half. NIU over the Indiana State Sycamores. Welcome back, David Kaplan and former Bears star receiver Tom Waddle. And Tommy, when you look at the first half, it started badly for Indiana State on a turnover for
and it got worse.
And it got worse.
Well, as expected. I mean, this was a huge jump up in class for the Indiana State Sycamores, and the Huskies, top to bottom, dominated the first half. They had tremendous balance on offense, and defensively, they made some big plays last week against Buffalo. They want to continue to make big plays. A couple of sacks in the first half, a couple of turnovers, just a well-rounded first half of football for Joe Novak's guys.
All right, let's take a look at the scoreboard and see what else is going on in the MAC. Kent State annihilates Bowling Green 38-3. Missouri, an earlier, actually now third quarter, 7-0 lead that they've held for a long time. Auburn 17-0 over a very gutty Buffalo club that we saw a week ago. Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, no score. A little later for North Texas at Akron and North Dakota State and Ball State, Temple, Western Michigan, McNeese State, Toledo, and Miami, Ohio is at Syracuse. at 6 o'clock Central Time this afternoon. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the first half, and here's the first play of the game.
Yeah, Tony West, the running back for Indiana State, just makes a poor decision. This was a lateral. Ken West picks it up wisely and takes it in. And how about this young man, Garrett Wolfe? We say it all the time, even when there's nothing there, he finds a way to make positive plays, gets into the end zone on 4 separate occasions in the first half, carries the football 18 times for 130 yards with, as I said, the 4 touchdown passes. He got some help from Phil Horvath as well. Phil 9 of 11 passing, great balance on offense. And again, the plays on defense, the big plays. You see Larry English with the sack, Antonucci with the fumble recovery. They come away with 2 sacks, 2 turnovers in the first half, and you look at the numbers. Another quality stat, 3rd down conversion coming into today's game. The Huskies converting just 27% of 3rd downs today, 6 of 8. Solid numbers across the board for the Huskies.
And as Tommy said, they've run the ball extremely well, and that's the key in the second half. Put Indiana State away early. You've got the football to start the second half. I don't think we'll see a ton of Garrett Wolfe after maybe first couple possessions.
I think they'll give the football to Garrett Wolfe maybe in their first possession. If they find their way into the end zone again and this becomes a 45-zip game, I think Joe Novak will pull back. I just don't think you risk injury to the most potent offensive weapon that you have. If this Husky team is able to win a MAC championship, it's going to be because Garrett Wolfe is leading the way. You can't afford to get that young man hurt.
All right, 38-0. It's all NIU, and they'll have the ball when we come back for the second half here in DeKalb.
Husky fans, Fatty's Pub and Grill in DeKalb is your official pre- and post-game NIU football headquarters. Whether you're catching a game on our big screens or having some of our famous grilled food out in our beer garden, Fatty's is the place to be. Join us on October 21st for Fatty's Centennial Homecoming Outdoor Tent Party with Trippin' Billy's playing live on stage after the game. For more information, log on to fattyspub.com. It's all at Fatty's Pub and Grill, located directly south of Husky Stadium on Route 38 in DeKalb. Looking for a wireless phone and service? The Phone Store features service from Sprint PCS, US Cellular, T-Mobile, and Nextel. Why buy a phone from a store that offers only one carrier? At the Phone Store, our friendly, knowledgeable staff will help you compare between all of our carriers and help you find the phone and service that fits your needs the best. The Phone Store with 2 great locations, in Rochelle next to Sullivan's Foods and in DeKalb on Sycamore Road next to Great Clips by Aldi, or call 815-78-PHONE.
Team up with the Huskies. Join the Husky Athletic Scholarship Fund today, where your financial support assists in providing a world-class academic and athletic experience for 488 student-athletes.
54 COSIDA Academic All-Americans.
Highest department GPA in the history of NIU athletics.
MAC West champions in football and men's basketball.
We can't reach our goals without the help of the Husky Athletic Scholarship Fund members.
Call 815-753-1923 for information on joining the HASF.
First, there was a black hole. Then, there was a big bang. Now, there's a bigger bang. Radio Shack presents The Rolling Stones. October 11th at Soldier Field. Special guest, Elvis Costello. Tickets at Ticketmaster outlets, Ticketmaster.com, or call 312-559-1212. Don't miss The Rolling Stones, a bigger bang.
I see the sun up in the sky, having fun, both you and I. It feels so good. We always find so much to do, and it feels so good. Oh yeah, it feels so good.
38-0. We're ready to start the second half. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because we have the Resource Bank $100,000 kickoff. Northern Illinois' first kickoff return of the game, whether that's the opening of the first half or the second half. If it's returned all the way, it's $100,000 for one lucky fan. Mark Scafidi, though, right now has Lou West.
What did you tell you guys at halftime?
That we got to stay in the game and stay focused. I think there's some good things that happen at the end of the quarter that we got to build off of and take it back out here second half and get going with it.
What have you seen from Garrett Wolfe? Have you ever seen anything like this?
I coached in the MAC before. I've seen Garrett and Michael Turner. So, I mean, those guys are phenomenal, and they continue to do well.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half. Back to you guys up in the booth.
All right, thanks, Mark. I'm sure Lou West has seen more than enough of NIU running backs, which under Joe Novak has become a huge, huge success story.
Well, certainly they are a run first, throw second offense, and they have run the football exceptionally well. Talked about Michael Turner before Garrett Wolfe and Thomas Hammock before Michael Turner.
There's a look at number 1.
Get your coat on. You all nice and comfy now?
I'm all snugly now. Ready to go. My Ryder Cup coat.
That brought the Americans a lot of luck today, didn't it?
It sure did. And a short kick coming down right at the 20-yard line. And Greg Turner grabs it and is belted down at the 25 after reversing field, and NIU will go on the attack. There's the kickoff frenzy, sponsored by Resource Bank, a national bank where banking is a pleasure. Win $100 grand if NIU returns the kickoff, the first one they handle, for a touchdown. You can sign up at Resource Bank or email sportsmarketing@niu.edu.
Everyone at the Resource Bank breathing a little easier right now.
Phew, they saw him reverse field. They went, oh no. Here we go. Garrett Wolfe is in. Garrett Wolfe's got the football. Garrett Wolfe rips off about 6, maybe 7 right there. Brian Jackson and Raphael Price made the tackle.
I think you'll see Garrett Wolfe play a huge role in this first drive of the second half as you see him knife his way for a 7-yard gain. Just once again penetrating through the front of that Indiana State defense. I think you'll see a lot of Garrett Wolfe on this drive, and then I think you'll see him go to the sideline.
More Garrett Wolfe here. Garrett Wolfe with a first down. So he's picked up close to 13 yards on the first 2 carries of the half.
Well, let's do the math. They started this drive at the 24-yard line. If he gets every yard from here in to the end zone, that's 76 yards, correct? That would give him 206 yards for the day, which would accomplish
their goals.
Well, that math was starting to wear me out.
And you're a math whiz. Garrett Wolfe takes the handoff. Garrett Wolfe just one be gone. Garrett Wolfe down the sideline. Garrett Wolfe knocked down at the 10-yard line. Knocked out of bounds at the 10. Huge run. Raphael Price saved the touchdown.
And I don't know if Britt Davis at the end was just bending down to fix his knee pad, but it looked like he was bowing to Garrett Wolfe after he got ran out of bounds. Look at that, just great vision. Great blocking from his wide receivers, from his offensive line. Tremendous effort from Raphael Price to run Garrett Wolfe down, but
first down and goal at the 10.
And you see Garrett stay in the game.
Try to get him that 5th touchdown.
I would think so.
He's now at 193.
Get him his 200, get him out of the game.
Hand off Garrett Wolfe. And he'll be knocked back around the 7 or 8 yard line. Gain of a couple. He's at 195. And do we have a flag on the play? Yes, we do. Scooter Archie made the tackle. He's played a pretty good game, Tommy.
He has. Tremendous name.
Penalty will be against Northern Illinois. It just gives more yardage possibilities for Garrett Wolfe here.
Well, as you see, I don't think that was Joe Novak's idea.
No.
Dead ball, personal foul, number 65 on the offense. 15 yards from the end of the run. Second down.
Jason Onibuagu.
God bless you.
Thank you. Grabs the penalty there. That will not make Coach Novak happy. And it'll back it up. Second down at the 23. Second and 20 at the 23-yard line now. Horvath rolling, looking, firing, and
nice catch.
Real nice catch by Marcus Perez.
Last couple of weeks, Marcus Perez has really become Phil Horvath's go-to wide receiver. Just a little quick rollout. This is what I don't like to see. I don't like to see Garrett Wolfe being your lead blocker. And just a great catch. Just a little arrow route from Marcus Perez. Does a great job catching the football in his hands. Phil Horvath puts it in a spot only Perez can catch it.
Horvath looking and pressured, and down he goes.
Again, nice job hanging on to the football.
Corey Blunk, 6'1", 300-pound junior out of Richmond, Indiana, blew in there and made the play.
See some stunts up front, and then you see the blitz on the corner. Too many guys to block for the front five of the Huskies.
So it looked like a sure touchdown when they had the ball at the 10. They go backwards, and Nendick will try a field goal to make it 41-0. Snap, set, kick is up, and it is good. Nendick drills it. It's 41-0 NIU. 11:50 to go here in the third quarter in DeKalb, Illinois. It's all Huskies.
My wife works hard. The kids are 10, 6, and 3. Our life together gets a little crazy. So I called Applebee's like I've done before. They brought our favorite foods out to my car door.
With Applebee's Carside to Go, you call it in, we bring it out.
Now my wife wants to meet me just as fast as she can, 'cause there's something women like about a pickup man.
Applebee's Carside to Go. It's not fast food, it's Applebee's Food Fast.
The BMW 5 Series, now with optional night vision. Lease a BMW 525i for $499 a month, now until September 30th.
41-0. And you'd think everything would be rosy on the sidelines, but at the end of the play, as soon as the field goal had gone through, Sam Pittman, the assistant head coach and offensive line guru for Joe Novak's staff, was not a happy man. There he is, very upset with Jason Onibuagu, who picked up that late hit penalty that backed the Huskies up. And he was very diplomatic at one point, but also very direct.
Well, it doesn't matter if you have a 41-0 lead or not. Offensive line coaches are going to coach for 60 minutes. They do not expect their young men to make silly mistakes.
Every offensive line guy looks the same, the coaches. They all do. They're big, tough, strong guys. Fatty's Pub and Grill right here in DeKalb is your official pre- and post-game headquarters for Husky football. Passes are on sale right now for Fatty's Ultimate Tailgate up in Iowa when Northern Illinois plays the University of Iowa. 3 hours of tailgating right next to Kinnick Stadium. Get your tickets at fattyspub.com or call 815-758-7737. It's a great spot, Fatty's. Great spot. Jeff Dobie and the guys do great work. Also want to do what I like to call the shout out. One of my former basketball players when I coached here, Rodney Davis, at home in his palatial estate in Aurora, listening, and he wanted to send a shout out to one of his favorite teachers, his English teacher, Mrs. Carrington here in DeKalb. He was a standout student in her class. A little late with his assignments at times, but felt he learned a lot, so I told him I'd take care of the shout out. And that pass should have been caught. Sam Logan, that's the second one that's gone off his hands today.
Yeah, they go back to that wide receiver screen. Sam Logan could not bring it in. Ball thrown a little high. You have to wonder whether or not Riley Murphy's hand is bothering him. Early in the second quarter, he went off to the sideline, had it taped up. He's gotten a tremendous number of shots to the body today.
Toss incomplete. He was looking for Jeremy Robinson.
I think Corey Hansen may have gotten away with one here.
So the Huskies will get it back. Do you see Garrett Wolfe coming in? What do you think?
I don't think so. And it has nothing to do with the fact that I can see him standing on the bench from here. I think that he's closed in on 200 yards rushing. That's good enough. His 7th consecutive day of more than 170 yards on the ground. I just don't think you exposed him to any unnecessary injury.
There's the punt fielded by Perez, and he may have fumbled it. That ball's going to roll out of bounds, and we'll see. A flag comes flying. We'll see what the call is.
Sycamores could never gain possession of the football.
The Sycamores are clapping.
Marcus Perez, just bad decision.
I think it was Corey Blanc who was the happy man I saw down there.
Perez made a good decision to come up and catch the ball.
Garrett Wolfe is back on the field. Now he's jogging back off the field.
Something tells me he ran out onto the field on his own. The coaches saw him run out onto the field and said.
And that's going to be it for Phil Horvath as well. Dan Nicholson.
I think this is a good decision.
Is going to be in at quarterback. So Horvath is done for the day. Let's take a look at the penalty.
Well, you see, Marcus Perez actually is a smart decision. He muffed the punt, and then he prevented the Sycamore defender from recovering it.
Mike Woods was the man that he grabbed. There's a look at Horvath, so his day appears to be complete. There's Marcus Perez. The Cass Prime is now in at tailback for NIU. So it looks like that will be all we will see of Garrett Wolfe today. And that was funny how he tried to run on the field.
Yeah, he tried to sneak into the huddle and was quickly called back. Good decision by Joe Novak. An opportunity to give Dan Nicholson some opportunities under quarterback or under center.
Garrett still has his helmet on as I look over there, and he is about 15 or so feet from Joe Novak, making sure that he knows he's ready to go in. Coach, I'm over here.
I think he should grab it.
There's a handoff to Cass Prime, and one man to beat grabs him at the 43.
I think Garrett Wolfe would be wise to grab a poncho and go sit down and get a breather. You see Cass Prime doing his best Garrett Wolfe impression right there. Jarrett Carter with a nice block on the edge. Cass Prime hitting the seam. Again, look at all the motion, that offensive line. Eddie Adamski pulling from the center position, getting to the edge, sealing the end of the line of scrimmage.
And we're getting another fairly strong rain shower now coming in. Cass Prime takes the handoff and picks his way for about 6, maybe 7. Scooter Archie up to make the tackle. There's a look at Joe Novak.
And unlike baseball, we will not stop this game for any reason with the rain coming down.
Really, they had a rain delay in a couple college games today.
That was lightning. Lightning strikes will cause a delay. They will not slow down a college football game for rain.
Just a bunch of guys going out and hitting each other. Football, baseball is more of a skill type game. You have to have your footing and be able to hold the ball. Missed the football. Cass Prime again. Cass Prime dives for another first down for NIU. Michael Roberts made the tackle. So here are the totals, it appears, for the day for Garrett Wolfe. 240 total yards, 22 carries, 198, 4 scores, 4 for 42 receiving. Now the helmet's off, and there he is.
I'd say that's a pretty solid 35 minutes of football.
Pretty good. Pretty good, Tommy.
And as I said a lot in the first half, great to see John Bond, the offensive coordinator, getting him involved in the passing game.
Cass Prime across the 35. It'll be another NIU first down. Well, they got a stable at tailbacks.
Well, the names will change, but the
tackle stay the same.
attack's going to stay the same. They're going to try to get their running backs to the edge. Good vision. Cass Prime finds a seam. Again, just keeps his legs moving. Offensive line once again doing a great job. And Scooter Archie just hanging on.
There's the throw. Nordine the catch, makes a man miss, turns it back up the field and picks up some more yardage. Cass Prime is out of Parker High School in Janesville, Wisconsin. 6'1", 215, a junior. His given name, Casimiro. Remember Adrian Davis? Tailback here last year. Cass and Adrian were one of 2 ex-Wisconsin Players of the Year on the 05 NIU roster. And Freddie Keebler, the turf elf. Where did that come from? Who taught you that?
Well, that's the creative mind of my older brother, Robert Michael Waddle, who every time we'd be playing backyard football and someone would go down untouched.
Freddie Keebler, the turf elf.
Freddie Keebler, the turf.
What was the most number of touchdowns you scored in a game in your career at any level?
Probably 3. No, 5 as a little league running back, as a little pee-wee football player. Touchdown Tommy Waddle, they used to call.
Touchdown Tommy Waddle?
Well, that's when I was like real smart.
Cass Prime around the corner, up the sideline, and he will pick up another NIU first down. Did you ever have a game you didn't score?
In Little League football? I'm sure I did.
But your parents held you back 4 or 5 grades, so you'd be dominant.
They did. I was actually 16 playing with 10-year-olds.
There's Cass Prime as he will see the marker, and he will be ushered out of bounds. The ball at the 21-yard line. And you played with some good players during your time. The Griffies, the Larkins, all in baseball. Were teammates of yours. Griff Jr., though, was a good football player.
Griff Jr. and Barry Larkin were both. Barry Larkin played, obviously, baseball at Michigan. He could have been a free safety for their football team at Michigan. He was that good of an athlete. And Griff Jr. was also just a fabulous football player.
DN?
Griff Jr.?
Yeah.
Defensive end? No.
Where did he
play?
play?
He was a wide receiver.
I heard he played some defensive line, too, according to our buddy Levins.
I don't think so.
2nd and 11 situation, 41-0 NIU.
High school was a long time ago, though.
That's way back. And Prime knocked down at right around the 14, 15-yard line. We'll see where they spot it.
Well, I think Cass Prime delivered the blow there. See most of the starting offensive linemen, or at least a few of them, still in there.
Yep, there's Chris Acevedo. They'll call it 3rd and 6. They'll spot it.
Scooter Archie getting a little more of Cass Prime than he wanted there.
NIU 346 yards total offense to this point. 93 yards total offense for Indiana State. Nicholson. Gonna keep it after the fake. Gonna throw in the end zone, and just short of the end zone, I think that ball was dropped by Brandon Davis.
Now, Dan Nicholson needed to put that ball out in front of Brandon Davis. Throws it behind him. Would have been a tough catch. Brandon Davis, see, just release outside, drag across the field, finds an opening. And Dan Nicholson throws the ball behind him. You're right, the ball should have been caught.
Nendick from 34 yards. This would be his 3rd field goal of the day. Snap, set, kick, up. It is no good. He missed it. So it remains 41-0 NIU. 4:58 to go in the 3rd. All Huskies today in DeKalb.
Ask a few of your friends what they thought after having LASIK eye surgery at the Hauser Ross Eye Institute, and you might hear something like this.
Yeah, it's one of those things that until afterward, I don't know how I got along without it.
You know, my biggest question for my doctor at Hauser Ross was, why did I wait so long to do this?
Find out why so many people have trusted the Hauser Ross Eye Institute for LASIK eye surgery. Call 1-800-CHECKUP today.
Hey Husky fans, shop online for all the latest Husky merchandise at niubookstore.niu.edu. We carry the best brands: Gear, Jansport, Russell, Vantage, Zephyr, and more. Shop any of our 3 locations: the Home Student Center, the Convocation Center, and our newest location at the Barcema Alumni and Visitor Center. Open 3 hours before game time for every home game. For the best Husky gear selection and prices, stop by today or shop online at niubookstore.niu.edu. That's niubookstore.niu.edu.
A new Ford Focus for $199 a month. A new Focus SE for $12,855. Now at the new Hawk Ford. With over 200 new Fords to choose from, Hawk Ford can get you financed. And into a new Focus for $199 a month or a new Focus SE for $12,855. All credit levels qualify.
Nobody saves your money like we do.
Because nobody compares to the new Hawk Ford on 95th Street just east of the Tri-State Oaklawn.
41-0 NIU over Indiana State. Back to live action. 4:54 and counting. David Kaplan, Tom Waddle, Mark Scafidi with you. Hand off to Tony West. Keenan Blaylark made the hit. Let's go back down to Mark Scafidi.
All right. Keenan, they call him 6K because there are 7 people in his family, all children named K. Kamara, Kiera, Carissa, Capri, Corin, Keenan, and Kamara. Now every Sunday, Keenan does double duty. He'll play the game here on Saturday, drive back to Elgin on Sunday to be in his father's church because he's a saxophone player in the band. So every weekend, he plays double duty, Saturday and Sunday. He's got action both days of the week.
There you have it. Thank you, Mark. There's a look at Blaylark, but that big hit was put on by number 42, John Tranchitella. He smacked the ball carrier, and it's 3rd and 8 Indiana State at their own 24-yard line. A little shuttle pass, and it's going to be enough for a first down and maybe more, but there's a flag. And I think we've got a hold coming up. I think they held Ken West.
I think Mike Thorpe, the center, had a little too much of Ken West.
And it is coming back. Nicely designed play, but a penalty on the play. Here you'll see the little shuttle toss.
Absolutely. Tony West gets out in the open space. You'll see right there. You see like...
There's the hold right there. Jeremy Robinson was the man, and I think he was grabbing, was it Tranchitella? I couldn't tell who he had by the jersey. I saw Ken West's body go flying, but I don't think he was the guy that was grabbed. So a 3rd and 11 now at the 21.
The Sycamores just shot themselves in the foot all afternoon long.
And that one nearly picked off, and I think 2 red shirts collided, and Dustin Utchik couldn't make the pick.
Riley Murphy tries to sneak this one inside of maybe 3 red jerseys. Just a little in route. He's lucky that one wasn't taken back for 6. You're right, though. I think if Dustin Utchik does not come in and put his hand on that ball,
it's picked. It's picked. Greg Turner, the deep man. Off of punt number, I don't know what now. I've lost count. The 7th punt of the day for Chris Johansson. And it's going to bounce. And Turner's going to grab it and go down. No, he's going to break free. He's going to cut it up inside. Bounces off another man. And in the Indiana State territory, that was a solid return. And the crowd likes it. There you have it. Really good return by Greg Turner. Huskies go back on the attack, and they lead it by 41 late stages of the 3rd.
Looking for a wireless phone and service? The Phone Store features service from Sprint PCS, US Cellular, T-Mobile, and Nextel. Why buy a phone from a store that offers only one carrier? At the phone store, our friendly, knowledgeable staff will help you compare between all of our carriers and help you find the phone and service that fits your needs the best. The phone store with 2 great locations, in Rochelle next to Sullivan's Foods and in DeKalb on Sycamore Road next to Great Clips by Aldi. Or call 815-78-PHONE.
The verdict is in. The College of Law at Northern Illinois University is one of the nation's most respected law schools. At NIU Law, top students are part of a tight-knit, dynamic, and diverse learning community. Small classes give them unmatched access to some of the best legal scholars in the country, and state-of-the-art technology prepares them for today's courtrooms. Many NIU Law students even get hands-on legal practice before they graduate. That's why so many successful lawyers and judges hold degrees from the NIU College of Law. NIU Law. Discover the difference.
Take a look at Greg Turner's run from a ground level view. Bring back memories, Tom?
Yeah, some bad ones. He does a great job fielding the punt. Does a nice job shaking a few tacklers, including Dustin Utchik, who's wearing the same colored jersey as him. It's certainly a nice positive play on the punt return from Greg Turner. And then he gets up and gets excited, and why not?
The crowd liked it, likes the effort.
Heck of a play.
Remember you returning a punt against the Saints for a score?
It's a thankless job, I'll tell you, especially when the weather starts to get dicey out there. The wind's blowing, the rain's coming down.
We saw Cass Prime before, now Justin Anderson back in, and Justin Anderson rips off a big chunk of yardage. And the Huskies running at will today. Eris Shaw made the tackle, but they are just rolling up the numbers.
And again, they attack the middle of that Sycamore defense. Look at the hole there. Again, there have been some monster holes for Northern backs to run through today.
21-5 now, first downs in favor of the Huskies, obviously. Anderson tripped up as he was nearing the first down marker, and he'll be knocked down right around the 20, close to another first down. We'll see where they spot it.
And again, you'll see the athleticism of that Husky offensive line. Oni Buago gets out on the edge. Greg Turner gets a block from his wide receiver position as well.
I think Greg Turner actually was the guy that tripped him with his legs. Justin Anderson, freshman out of Chicago. There's a handoff to Justin Anderson again, and he is smacked down around the 15-yard line.
Well, at this particular time, they're trying to get some of their backup players, some of their young guys, some experience here. Do some positive things. Try to keep everybody healthy. Talked about earlier, they go on the road at Ball State next week, and after that, 2 weeks later, they're at Western Michigan, so they've got a couple of big MAC games on the horizon.
Another handoff, Anderson to the end zone, touchdown. Give it 6, touchdown Northern Illinois.
They've made a living all afternoon long over the left side of their offensive line. Just a good feel, and a humongous hole once again, and then it's just a sprint into the end zone. Great job up front. Guard to guard, the Huskies have played great today. Created some seams for their backs.
I think the block actually that sprung him, Oni Buagu, who was held out for a series for that late hit penalty, got an earful from offensive line coach and assistant head coach Sam Pittman, and came back in, and I think he's the guy, number 65, that sprung him for that touchdown. There's the NIU Alumni Association. Huskies scoring drive. 4 plays, 47 yards, took a $137. Anderson does the honors, 15 yards on the TD run. NIU today, 42 carries for 295 yards.
Well, we knew the Huskies were going to attack the Sycamores on the ground. Talked about it a lot in the first half. Indiana State dead last at stopping the run in Division I AA. And they've struggled again today, slowing down the Northern Illinois running game.
Justin averaging 8.8 per carry today. 6 touches, 53 yards, and the touchdown you just saw.
Well, some dejected players on the Sycamore sideline, but they had to know going on the road, stepping up in class, this was going to be a difficult assignment today.
And using a horse analogy, stepping up in class, NIU's Garrett Wolfe was Secretariat today.
I would say so.
Deep kick, down and in the end zone. Indiana State's got the ball, 1st and 10 at their 20. Tune in October 14th at 1 p.m. NIU will take on Western Michigan from Kalamazoo, live right here on Comcast Sports Net. You know, it's a good thing they don't have the tradition of doing push-ups after every score. Some schools do that.
Be some worn-out cheerleaders.
My goodness. Or they would look like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the morning.
Grab your flip chart because you're going to see some young men playing that aren't on your too deep card. And rightfully so. I'm not sure they have enough depth on defense right now because they've had so many injuries to play a lot of guys. You see their starting secondary still out there. Larry English is still out there.
Brad Benson.
Zach Holycross is getting some snaps on the defensive line.
Melvin Rice still out there. Adriel Hansborough, whose brother Alva, his twin brother, unfortunately out for the year, tore his bicep in the Ohio loss right here in DeKalb, and he is done for the year and his career is over. There's brother Adriel right there. And Riley Murphy keeps it and will pick up about 5.5. We'll see where they spot this. It's going to be close. I think he's going to be just short.
They're signaling first down.
Yep, they're going to give him the first down. When it's 48-0, they're going to do that for him.
Well, I don't think the referees would compromise their integrity for that. I think they just felt that the nose of the football got past the 40.
You don't think that if it's close,
no,
the man in the white hat goes first down?
No, I think they will stick with what they think is the call to make. They play no favorites.
Sound like an official. And that's the end of the 3rd quarter of play. They go to the 4th, firmly in command. It's NIU 48 zip.
NIU fans, when you enter the Village Commons bookstore, you're entering Husky territory. VCB is the official site for NIU athletics, featuring the new NIU logo on a wide range of hats, t-shirts, shorts, sweats, and NIU logo gifts and accessories. Whether you're a student, graduate, or a fan of NIU athletics, the Village Commons bookstore is your Husky headquarters. Visit us in DeKalb or call us toll-free 800-700-4868 or on the web at www.vcbs.com.
Edelson Cadillac does it again. 2006 Cadillac CTS Sports Sedans, $24,900, or 2006 DTS Luxury Sedans, $25,900.
I give both the CTS and DTS 5 stars. And we have a great selection at Edelson Cadillac.
That's right, Mike. And we'll give a $25 dining certificate and 2 free movie passes to anyone who test drives these great values.
Maury Edelson Cadillac.
1 mile north of I-55 on LaGrange Road in Hodgkins.
Chapter 13 debt repayment plans deal with lawsuits, foreclosures, car payments, credit cards, payday loans, repossessions, tax debts, medical bills, and more. I'm attorney Peter Francis Geraci. Get one lower payment for all debt and stop creditor harassment now. With 30 years experience, we're the law firm you trust to get you out of debt. Log on to infotapes.com or call us now.
1-888-332-1107.
48-0 NIU as we start the 4th quarter. Indiana State has the ball. They'll hand it off to Tony West. He'll gain 2, maybe 3 yards. And then the clock ticks as we start 4th quarter play and look at 3rd quarter numbers. Anything jump out at you, Tom, other than the ridiculous difference in rushing?
Well, obviously it's been a game dominated by the Huskies completely. Almost 400 yards of total offense. We knew they would attack the Sycamores on the ground, and they've done that successfully. Defensively, they've got to be very proud of how they've performed. As I said at the half, they've gotten to the quarterback. They've taken Riley Murphy down on several occasions. They've created a couple of turnovers.
Zach Larson made the tackle there. He is a freshman, 6'2", 12, out of Northfield, Minnesota. Can you tell me what Northfield, Minnesota is famous for?
Very cold weather.
This is true. Carleton College. And the great Northfield train robbery where I believe John Dillinger was involved.
You're just full of useless information, aren't you?
Thank you. Bradley Pruitt makes the tackle on Brian Jackson.
Riley Murphy with a nice toss to the edge. Brian Jackson gets a first down. Sycamore starting to move the football a little bit here in the fourth quarter.
Carl Berman, the ball carrier there.
It's becoming a friends and family game, as they say. Only friends and family will be here on the final snap of the ball.
That's exactly right. A blowout for the Huskies today. And we do want to welcome in the athletic director at Northern Illinois. Oh, he stops by in the fourth quarter, comes to say hi, our buddy Jim Phillips. And boy, Jim, you know, the Ohio game we talked to you and it didn't look good. Last week it was much more competitive and then Northern Illinois blew it open. But today, from the first play, you guys have just been in command.
Just what the doctor ordered. We needed this game. It's a great way to start a brutal road trip coming up, having to go to Ball State, then Miami on a Sunday night contest, and then back to Western Michigan 3 consecutive weeks. So got a chance to play a lot of young players that you've seen today and got a chance to make some adjustments throughout the game. So you couldn't have asked anything more for today.
Now, it was funny, after you got it to 41-0, you brought in the backup, or Joe brought in the backup quarterback, Dan Nicholson, and we saw Garrett Wolfe from the end of the
Try to sneak onto the field.
Comes on the field with his helmet on, and one of the coaches came out and goes, Garrett, off. That was it.
He's a competitive little guy, as you know, and he wants to be out there.
He runs for 196 today and really could have named his number. I mean, he is just so dominant. Indiana State's weakness near Achilles' heel is they're not very good against the run, but he had a great day there.
And we talked about it. It's a difficult thing for Coach Novak to balance between getting him the exposure and the carries because he is a legitimate Heisman candidate, not exposing him to injury, and also exercising a degree of class with this Indiana State team, which is jumping up in competition level today.
I just know one thing. I wouldn't want to make those decisions because it's a tightrope because of the things that you pointed out, Tom. You'd love to get that kid as much attention and exposure as you can, but you don't want to risk him and the team's success in the future based on a game that the score, you know, is out of hand. Is out of hand, right.
On 3rd and 5, Riley Murphy on a quarterback keeper is belted down, and it's going to bring up a 4th down situation. And Indiana State obviously trailing by 48 will go for it. And, you know, the crowd was really into it, and there's still a large number of people still here, even though it's 48-0, and we had some dicey weather there for a while.
We did, but we caught a break. I think it could have been a lot worse based on earlier predictions of the weather forecast.
Now, as you were coming to the stadium today, did you hear some guy, and we're going to have a sack here. Big play for Anthony Antonacci. That's the man who recovered the fumble earlier in the game. He's had quite a performance. And on 3rd and 5, grabs Riley Murphy and drags him to the turf.
Jim, I have to say, this is one of the best things we've seen today is just the pressure from the defense. It was something that was missing prior to the Buffalo game, getting to the opposing quarterback. Last week, the defense registered 4 sacks. Today, they've been in Riley Murphy's face all day long. But just great to see the defense coming up with some big plays.
It really is, Tom, and I've heard you talk about this countless times, and that is it's all won and lost in the trenches.
Yeah.
How's everything else going in the rest of the athletic department? I know the last time we were here, you were celebrating and there's a long toss, and they're going to spot it at the 1-yard line. Really good throw to Brian Jackson. He makes the catch and is knocked down at the 1. So the shutout is in danger. Real good throw and a fabulous catch.
I was going to say, I think the catch is a little more impressive than the throw. And this is something you don't want to see is Melvin Rice down. He's stepping in for Alva Hansbrough.
There's the throw.
And Jackson gets away with a little bit of a push-off. Does a nice job bringing the ball in. But prior to catching it, looked to me like he put a hand on Melvin Rice. But again, this is not what you want to see. We talked about it earlier. Alva Hansbrough out with a torn bicep for the year.
Melvin Rice, who has really done a great job as a hitter today.
Yeah. Just all the injuries on defensive.
It's amazing.
Really harmed this defense so far.
You know, Jim, you've been in a lot of big-time athletic programs. When you go through your career and you look back and go, well, that was a real good team, but it was great when we got to camp, and then it never finished that way because of injuries.
Absolutely. And the margin is so small when you lose a kid, a starter, and then you go to a backup. As you see with our group, we're playing a lot of young people on the defensive side of the football. And yeah, it's great to get them experience, but to baptism by fire is also difficult and tough for Denny Dornbos and the defensive unit.
On a first down and goal to go inside the 1, Riley Murphy is just belted by a host of red shirts. Josh Allen among the guys there that turned him back.
And no Tim McCarthy today. Outstanding middle linebacker who's missed the game because of injury as well.
And a diving for the end zone will be Riley Murphy, and he's in.
I give this young man a lot of credit. You see him lose his helmet there, but been banged up all afternoon. Does a nice job getting himself and the Sycamores into the end zone for the touchdown.
Fakes to Tony West and then sees the end zone and does find pay dirt, and it gets them on the board. Pending the PAT, 48-6 NIU with 10-12 to go here in the fourth quarter.
And it hasn't gone Indiana State's way, but Coach Lou West has got to like to see his guys competing all the way to the final whistle.
Hey, Lou West is a good football coach. He was with us at Notre Dame when I was there as a secondary coach. He knows the game, and he's a fine coach.
All right, we're going to take the time out. We'll come back, chat a little bit more with Jim Phillips, the athletic director. After this, Huskies up 48-7, big time here in DeKalb.
Husky fans, Fatty's Pub and Grill in DeKalb is your official pre- and post-game NIU football headquarters. Whether you're catching a game on our big screens or having some of our famous grilled food out in our beer garden, Fatty's is the place to be. Join us on October 21st for Fatty's Centennial Homecoming Outdoor Tent Party with Trippin' Billy's playing live on stage after the game. For more information, log on to fattyspub.com. It's all at Fatty's Pub and Grill, located directly south of Husky Stadium on Route 38 in DeKalb.
I can honestly say I love playing in the city of Chicago. You know, the fans are great. I think we have the best fans in the league. And I noticed that from day one. You know, my rookie year when we started off, I think it was 0-9. And fans would still, you know, be there cheering for us and everything like that. And, you know, they rallied us all the way to the playoffs. And, you know, I love them for that. So I wouldn't want to play anywhere else but Chicago.
All right, welcome back here to Brigham Field at Husky Stadium in DeKalb. David Kaplan, Tom Waddle.
And Jim, how do you like?
He's our guy on the sideline. Here's Jim Phillips, the athletic director.
How do you like David Kaplan wearing an Indiana State jacket up here in the booth?
That's brutal.
That is bad, isn't it?
I don't have a Northern Illinois jacket.
Well, we're going to talk to Jim Corno and hold his check for this week's game.
It's actually, you see the back?
Ryder Cup.
Ryder Cup jacket. I got to cheer on Team USA. They're struggling.
They're not doing very well today. Yeah, they're struggling. I checked the computer. Is it worse than 9.5 to 4.5? Has it gotten worse than that?
Last I heard was 10-5, and there was still one match on the course, I thought.
Not good. And the Huskies are going to go back on the attack. We may have a kick return here, but the $100,000 kick return is what I wanted to ask you about. Very cool promotion you do with Resource Bank.
Terrific. It gives a customer or a fan a chance to win $100,000 on the opening kickoff that we receive, whether it's the first half or second half. And if they march it all the way into the end zone, it's $100,000. And people can sign up on NIU.edu, and they can also look at Resource Bank for that.
When we first heard about it, I said to Cap, I said, you know, that's not as unusual as one may think. There are a lot of kickoffs returned for touchdowns at the collegiate level.
Well, I would just ask any of you guys, would you put the money up forth for something like that if, you know, the odds are 20-1 or 30-1? I'm not sure.
It's a very cool promotion.
It is, absolutely.
I mean, really neat. When you guys brainstorm, you've done so many great things since your tenure began here at Northern Illinois, and you've got the Athletic and Academic Performance Center going up, but just the way things are perceived now, Northern Illinois is a big-time operation. A lot of things you've done. How do you come up with ideas like this? Is it just a brainstorming session? Is it you're laying in bed in the middle of the night and you go, I got a great idea?
Well,
or do you pilfer from others?
You do. We're all thieves in this business,
right?
You know, and you try and take what other people are doing. But that was really a credit to Todd Garzarelli and our marketing and promotion staff that came up with that idea. And to have a great partner like Richard Katz and Resource Bank, that's what, you know, the combination
He's a good man,
He is a good man. Good man and a great supporter of Husky athletics.
How much has Garrett Wolfe's fun career brought attention to DeKalb and the Husky program, and how do you use that to kind of continue to grow the program and the recognition that you're getting?
Tom, I think it's immeasurable what Garrett Wolfe has done and the exposure he's brought. Certainly we know the region we're at, and we love the area. We love the city of Chicago and what it means to be on Comcast and to have the Chicago Tribune or sometimes write about the Huskies. But when you have USA Today and you have the New York Times and you have all these national papers come to DeKalb to do a story on Garrett Wolfe, again, I'm not sure you can put a value on that and what that means. And as we've talked before, athletics is the front porch to the institution.
Right.
Not nearly the most important thing going on our university's campus, but certainly the most visible and a way for people to kind of see what's happening and bring people onto the campus.
And you have to maximize that exposure.
You do. And a kid like Garrett Wolfe is able to do that better than anybody.
Right.
It's funny because tonight when they run the replay shows and sportscasts, whether it's in the Chicago area, on the West Coast, out on the East Coast, South, North, wherever, the one score that they'll make sure they always mention will be yours because Garrett Wolfe's a Heisman finalist.
Absolutely. You'll turn on the TV and you'll see the ticker for leading rushers today or leading touchdown scores for today, and Garrett Wolfe will be right up there.
And you can't measure how that helps in recruiting with a high school kid who continues sees Northern Illinois. It's just an extra commercial.
Well, and as these young running backs see, when Garrett goes to the sideline, ask Cass Prime, ask some of these other young backs, Montel Clanton, who's out with an injury, but the names may change, but the program remains the same, and the offensive game plan remains the same. They're going to hand the football to the guy standing behind the quarterback and allow him to dictate the pace of the offense.
How much in terms of feedback do you guys get, or people coming back, the Ryan Deems, the Michael, the Burner Turners, guys like that?
A ton. We talk to those guys all the time. Certainly it's difficult during the NFL season. They're locked in preparation and game planning. But we communicate with them all the time. In fact, I'm going to go to New York on one of the off weekends that we have to see the Jets and Bears play and hopefully get together with Justin McCarrons and his wife Sharon and certainly wave the flag proudly in New York from NIU.
Yeah, I got one idea for you. You know how the Dallas Cowboys have their Ring of Honor? The Yankees have their Monument Park. What about doing something like that, maybe on the back wall of the Academic Athletic Performance
Absolutely.
Center?
We're going to do inside kind of a Husky heritage inside that new Academic and Athletic Performance Center. And the other thing I'm excited about is, you know, trying to create some new tradition with some things. We're going to have a life-size bronze Husky statue at the front of that building. And every time that football team goes out to practice or comes in from practice or goes out to a game and comes in from a game, they're going to touch that Husky statue as a way to start a new tradition here on campus. And I'm excited about that, too. It'll be on the seal of the state of Illinois, and one of the paws will be right on the city of DeKalb. So it'll be neat. Yeah, it'll be neat.
What a great idea that is. Well, congratulations on a big win, 48-7. And we look forward to seeing you soon. And we'll be back for the Temple game and ton of NIU exposure this year. We look forward to talking to you.
Appreciate everything, guys. You're terrific.
All the best. That's our guy. That is Jim Phillips, the very fine athletic director here in DeKalb.
Snap infraction. Number 67 on the offense. 5 yards from the succeeding spot. Remains second down.
Yeah, 2 number 19s on the field. And Tommy, I believe if you, at the start of the game, announce that you can't do anything about it, they allow you to do that. Is that correct?
You're asking the wrong guy. I had the same question.
Because they're allowing him in the game now.
Obviously, Dan Nicholson was the 19 I was familiar with. There's
Dan's brother, Dan Nicholson, as well, carrying the football. Because none of our information...
He's not even listed.
No. There's the Husky dog, and he's got an aluminum can he's annihilating in there of the, not Red Bull, but it looks like Red Bull. The energy drink was the word I was talking about.
19 hands to 19, follows the block of number 19 for a 19-yard gain.
And it's 19-0.
I told you to get your flip chart out. Uh-oh.
And they're going to have
a
penalty coming up, hitting the quarterback late, I believe.
Well, at least helmet-to-helmet contact. Excuse me. Actually, they're going to call holding on the offensive line for the Huskies.
To avoid the sack. We'll wait for the official call, but it's going to be a hold on NIU. Clock at 5:10. NIU firmly in command.
Number 73 on the offense. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Penalty be declined, as you heard. So the Huskies will punt the football away.
Almost picked.
Right through it to the wrong shoulder.
Marcus Lewis does a nice job breaking that up. Turns from a receiver to a defender. I can't help you. I don't know number 19 other than Dan Nicholson.
Trying to find a second 19 on our info here.
And I apologize to the young man's parents, but
all right, there's the Husky dog. He's all juiced up after his energy drink, and he's ready to roll. Huskies up 48-7.
For over 50 years, Blaine's Farm and Fleet has been supplying families with all kinds of quality goods at low prices. And for those big bags of supplies you need for everyday life, no other store offers more. At Farm and Fleet, you'll find water softener salt, a big selection of food for your pets, lots of food for the birds, and their extensive line of agricultural feeds and supplements. You'll appreciate their tradition of convenience, quality, and value. For big bags and more, Blaine's Farm and Fleet is your store.
Are bill collectors calling you? Is your mortgage late? Credit cards over limit? Don't think credit counseling or worse yet, refinancing. Think, I need to get out of debt. A recent survey of 12,000 people who did credit counseling showed that almost all of them should have been filing bankruptcy. I'm attorney Peter Francis Geraci. If your bills are behind, think Chapter 7 or 13. Log on to infotapes.com or call now.
1-888-332-1107.
VHIX.com helps people find the car they want at a dealer near them. How do we improve that user experience?
Free squeegee service.
And your idea?
VHIX TV, with helpful video buying guides that make online shopping more fun.
Helpful video buying guides, now at VHIX.com. Roadmap to the automotive world.
All right, 5:02 left. Husky Stadium, a happy place to be. 48-7. Indiana State's got the football back. Let's go downstairs to Mark Scafidi.
All right, Tom and Dave, you guys were talking about that second 19. Well, this is his Super Bowl right now. Not everybody can be like Garrett Wolfe. I myself was personally jacked up when the score got this big because I knew I was going in the game. All these guys on the field right now, this is their time to shine. Hopefully for next week, the rest of the season, if they're young guys, they can come back next year, and this is the kind of game where they get their most action.
15 yards from the end of the run, automatic first down.
Thank you, Mark. Got a penalty on the Huskies. First down now, Indiana State.
And the Sycamores have made a change at quarterback as well. Ben Schmidt is now under center for them, or in this particular case, in the shotgun formation.
Ben's a junior out of Jasper, Indiana. 6'2", 200 pounds. And he is knocked down across the 45, out near the 47 by Saul Ibarra. Junior out of Elmwood Park, Illinois, free safety.
I'll tell you what, when you come to Indiana State as a quarterback, you better get ready to run the ball as well as throw it.
Indiana State's Darius Gates runs the football into Northern Illinois territory, enough to move the chains, gives him a first down.
And there's no one in this building right now that is happy that he ran out of bounds with that football.
That's exactly right. 4:03 to go. Darius Gates.
Tell you what, the Huskies are still flying around to the football. We talked about it earlier. After this ball game, the Huskies go on the road for 3 consecutive MAC games. They're at Ball State, at Miami of Ohio, and at Western Michigan before returning home for Temple. So
we'll be here for the Temple game on the 21st. Then they go to Iowa.
That's right. They're scheduled.
And then come home for Toledo, Central Michigan, and go on the road to Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, the schedule's about to get difficult.
Clock dripping down toward 3:20. There's the NIU schedule. We see our next broadcast coming up on Comcast Sports Net.
It's the Temple program that is really struggling right now.
Indiana State will lose their 21st straight game. Their last win was in 2004 versus Illinois State. The throw is incomplete. Schmidt's pass was intended for Carl Berman.
Schmidt just underthrows this one a little bit. Berman wide open. Get your arms underneath the football and try to bring it in.
And we mentioned their last win over Illinois State. And our fine spotter up here, Hollywood Todd Armour, an Illinois State grad.
I want to see the diploma.
Yeah, I still don't believe he got one. And Carl Berman makes the catch, picks his way near the 20. It will be enough for another Indiana State first down. Clock under the 3-minute mark.
I said earlier, I think Coach Lou West obviously knows his program's got a ways to go, but he's got to like the enthusiasm and effort he's getting from his guys despite a 41-point deficit.
And when you take over a program that is really down, as Joe Novak can tell you, it just takes time to get your own guys. And there's the throw, there's the touchdown for Carl Berman. Makes the catch from Ben Schmidt. And that will be enough for another Indiana State touchdown. And it will get it to 48-13 pending a PAT.
Just a nice throw, nice catch. Berman does a nice job getting this ball in the end zone. Schmidt does an excellent job dropping that ball in between 2 Husky defenders. Throws it with a little zip as well. Bradley Pruitt looked a little surprised that Schmidt even tried to throw that football in there.
The extra point kick is good. We'll take a timeout. This one's no longer in doubt. The 2:44 to go. 48-14 NIU.
You know, there are some things families just don't like to share. They don't want to share this. Or this. Or, these. Or this. That's why with US Cellular's family plan, everyone in the family gets their own phone. Plus, they can talk to each other free. Speaking of which, does anyone want to talk about these? Oh, those are Dwayne's! See, you thought you lost them.
US Cellular, we connect with you. Right now, get up to 4 free phones when you buy one for only $29.95.
Stop on in, we've got what you need. Stop on in, you're on the run.
At Casey's, we don't do thin and skimpy pizzas. Casey's piles them up real heavy. All month, get free cheese breadsticks with the purchase of any large pizza. Come in now and enter to win the Snickers Casey's Super Bowl Celebration Sweepstakes. You and a friend could end up at Super Bowl 41 in Miami.
Stop on in to Casey's General Store.
All right, the Sycamore scoring drive was 8 plays. It took them 218. They went 81 yards. Berman, a 20-yard TD reception from Ben Schmidt. And that's how we get to 48-14. NIU, 2:44 to go in the football game. And obviously everybody in the building knows an onside kick is coming. Got real lucky here with the weather today as well. We had a little bit of rain in the first half and a tiny bit in the second half, but nothing really substantial stayed with us. And it was all around us in the area. Total yards today for NIU, 423. There's the pooch kick bouncing around. It will be covered up by Marcus Perez. So Northern Illinois will have the ball with 2:38 to go. Total yardage, 423 for NIU, 264 for Indiana State. And a lot of that 264 has come when the game was no longer in doubt.
Yeah, this game has obviously been dominated by the Huskies on both sides of the football. They established their run early with Garrett Wolfe. They did a great job pressuring Riley Murphy off the start.
There's Garrett Wolfe. And a handoff goes absolutely nowhere. We have our third quarterback into the game, Ryan Morris, a freshman out of Carroll Stream, 6'2", 177, number 15. And he is now in for the final couple minutes, 2.5 minutes or so of this game as we drip toward the 2-minute mark.
Loss of 5 on the play, second and of the 15-16 ball 20.
Handoff. We'll get it back to the 20. Still a long way to go for a first down, but clock running at 1:40 and counting.
As we said, the Huskies got to feel good about their performance today.
And they'll run the football again. As they put the finishing touches on this one. Clock towards a minute.
As we said earlier, it doesn't make a difference who's carrying the football. They're going to give it to a back and let him stretch things out and try to find a seam. The numbers change. The offensive game plan does not.
311 yards of rushing offense today for Northern Illinois. Benner will punt it away. 4th and 13. Snap, kick is away. A low driving kick caught by, I think it was Carl Berman, who is still in there in this ball game. Yep, Carl Berman, and Bradley Pruitt was the man that brought him down. 22.7 seconds left. Tommy, real good win for Northern.
No question about it. As I said earlier, they dominated on both sides of the football. They established the run. Phil Horvath had his second fine outing. Defensively, they came up with some big plays. They need to get healthy as they go on the road in the MAC. Defensively, they've had some injuries. Hopefully they'll get healthy as they head into some very difficult conference play.
Okay, final score in the books. That one will be official. It's Northern Illinois 48 and Indiana State 14. The two coaches meet near midfield. Stand by. Our Casey's postgame show's coming up after this on Comcast Sportsnet.
Advance your career with an MBA from Northern Illinois University.
I was able to balance my MBA with my professional life as well as my personal life. And best of all, NIU's MBA program is AACSB accredited and affordable.
I was impressed with the knowledge and experience of the professors, and the program provided me with a well-rounded business education. The affordability and convenient locations made my decision easy, and it made my MBA a reality.
Designed for the working professional, the MBA program at Northern Illinois University. Jumpstart your career today.
This broadcast of Northern Illinois Husky football on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you by U.S. Cellular. We connect with you. Fatty's Bar and Grill, the official tailgate home of NIU Athletics. Village Commons Bookstore. For all your Husky clothing and souvenirs, visit vcbs.com. Applebee's. Try Applebee's Car Side to Go. You call it in, we bring it out. Casey's General Stores, the official convenience store of NIU Athletics. Casey's, a convenience store and a whole lot more. Blaine's Farm and Fleet, I found it at Farm and Fleet. The NIU MBA programs take the NIU MBA Challenge. the NIU Alumni Association. Stay connected with NIU and Kishwaukee Hospital. All right, the Huskies win it 48-14. They smash Indiana State. Big day for Garrett Wolfe. Big day for the Husky running attack in general, Tommy.
And big day for the guys having to load the shells into that machine that goes off every time they score. Yeah, it was a completely dominated game by the Huskies. We knew coming in that the Indiana State Sycamores were stepping up in class. And the Huskies won the battle at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. They ran it exceptionally well. They mixed in the play-action pass, and defensively they came away with some big plays. Now they've got to go on the road for 3 big conference games. We'll see how they do. They need to get healthy on defense right now.
Garrett Wolfe, as you said, coming into the game, was going to be his show today against a team that just doesn't do a very good job against the run, especially at this level. Let's take a look at some of the great plays he made, Tom.
Garrett Wolfe on the day, 22 carries, 198 yards, averages 9 yards per carry, got into the end zone 4 times. 240 yards of total offense from him today. He's a powerful little guy. He's a fast running back, and he is a legitimate Heisman Trophy candidate.
And he rumbles, as Tommy told you the numbers, big yardage today. The Husky band is on the field, and everybody in good spirits. But now things get a bit more difficult as you go on the road to play Ball State, Miami, and Western Michigan. Bang, bang, bang. That's real tough in this league.
You're going to have to play mistake-free, especially when you are undermanned on defense because they've had so many injuries. You have to rely on your lead dog, your lead Husky, and that's Garrett Wolfe. I expect him to perform quite well on the road, but again, it's tough to go on the road for 3 consecutive conference games. We'll see how they do against Ball State. Miami's not going to be an easy game, and Western Michigan gets better and better every year. So, they head into the month of October with a 2-2 record, about where they've been over the course of the years. I think only once in 2000 they went into the month of October with a winning record, so they've been here before. They just need to build on this victory, last week's victory against Buffalo, and see if they can steal a couple on the road.
Of course, this is the Casey's post-game show. Let's take a look at some final statistical numbers from today's ball game. And obviously, when in a 48-14 game, you're going to see things heavily tilted in one direction. 314 to 104, that's the story.
Yeah, they also have to be very excited, the Huskies do, with how well they converted third downs coming into this ball game. They were converting just 27% of their third downs. Today, they were well over 50%. They controlled the clock. They had a few too many penalties, but overall, pretty special effort from their offense today.
See the numbers. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule one more time. 3 straight at Ball State, at Miami, at Western Michigan. And then you have the Temple game. We'll be back for that one. And then you go to Iowa, which at Kinnick Stadium is a great experience to be part of, but a very difficult game to win.
Well, the Huskies don't dodge anyone. I mean, Jim Phillips will tell you that. It's great exposure. They play Big Ten games, and historically, Garrett Wolfe has had success. He's played 3 Big Ten games or against 3 Big Ten opponents, and in those games, he's averaged 188 yards per game. So hopefully he'll have another big one out at Iowa in several weeks.
All right, don't forget the next NIU game on Comcast Sportsnet will air on tape delay at 1 a.m. September 30. The next live game right here on Comcast, October 14 at 1, when the Huskies battle Western Michigan live from Waldo Stadium. So for Tom Waddle and Mark Scafidi and our great crew, I'm David Kaplan saying so long from Husky Stadium in DeKalb. 48-14 your final. The proceeding has been an exclusive presentation of Comcast Sportsnet and Northern Illinois.
There'll be none of this, or this, or this, but lots of this. We're a lean, mean dealing machine at Schaumburg Honda Automobiles.
Get 4.9 APR for 24 to 60 months now.
There's only one, Bob Rohrman.
You owe it to yourself. The Midwest #1 volume Honda dealer, Bob Rohrman Schaumburg Honda Automobiles, just 8 blocks west of Woodfield Mall on Gulf Road.
The ball hit deep. Grand slam. Slam. Go crazy. Can you believe
Lots has changed over 4 generations, but one thing that's remained the same is the great taste of Rosati's pizza. For 40 years, the Rosati family's secret recipes have kept people coming back for more. Authentic pizzas are made by hand, always with the freshest homemade sauce and ingredients. Deep dish, thin crust, there's something for everyone. Or dive into the cheap, delicious Italian beef with melted mozzarella. Rosati's Pizza, a tradition of quality for 4 generations. Log on to myrosatis.com to find the location near you. Every night at 6:30, 10 at midnight, there's only one show devoted to the true Chicago sports fan. Sports Night on Comcast Sportsnet. If you love Chicago sports, then this is your nightly destination for all that's happening. No other show goes as in-depth on your teams, with highlights, interviews, analysis, and more time on the stories you care about. Chicago, this is your nightly sports news. Sports Night, every night at 6:30, 10 at midnight, only on Comcast Sportsnet.
Good evening and welcome to Countdown to Kickoff presented by IPA. Alongside the star of the show, number 87, Musa Muhammad from the Chicago Bears. I am Pat Boyle. What happened to Roy Williams' promise? It didn't exactly work out, did it, last week? The guarantee.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm glad I didn't put any money on it because you've definitely been in the loser column there.
Yeah, you can't do that. You get in trouble. Hey, let's set our game plan for the next half hour. We put a cover 2 on the Bears offense that has used an air attack against the NFC North so far for their first 2 wins. What are the Bears doing to jumpstart their ground attack? It's a battle of 2 undefeated teams. We'll break down the revamped Vikings, and he may not be able to drive fast on the Edens, but we'll go go-karting with Moose and some of his teammates, and it's the always popular Hurry Up, where we find out things like what 2-0 team surprises Moose the most. But first, it's time for our opening slants. Well, Moose, your guy Rex has the best quarterback rating in the league, 128.7, an average of over 10 yards per attempt. It's also tied for the league lead with 5 tutties. And the Bears offense, which was at the bottom a year ago, is now ranked 7th overall, 5th in passing. When did you guys become a passing team? Come on. I mean, what's going on here?
Well, we got everybody fooled so far, I guess. You know, we're supposed to be the strong running team, and I believe that we are a strong running team. Here's the trick. The trick is everyone else in the league knows that we're a strong running team, so they're going to try to stop the run. And what we need to do is be balanced, and I think that's what we've done in the first 2 weeks, is showed that if you try to take away the run, well, guess what? We're going to throw the ball on you.
And Rex has certainly burned a few people in the last couple of weeks. He did throw a pick 6 last week that was nullified by one of the Lions' 14 penalties. Threw an interception against Green Bay, but other than that, Rex has been nearly flawless. Can you explain why Rex has been so successful to start this year?
I think the first thing you have to look at is the comfort that Rex has felt.
But that comfort wasn't here 2 weeks ago, you know, in the preseason. I mean, that comfort has come right away to start the season.
Well, Pat, you got to understand that you need the preseason. Sometimes you're going to need those preseason games. You're going to need to bump your head a little bit, kind of figure out where you're going wrong. What are you doing wrong? And from those mistakes, you make adjustments. And that's what this game is all about. When you can look at the film, make those adjustments, then come back out and not make the same mistake twice, that's when you know you're a pro.
Well, the boos that Rex was hearing in the preseason have turned to cheers. He won't hear much love in the Metrodome this Sunday as he returns to the place where his second season ended with that knee injury. Rex doesn't appear to be intimidated by his trip to Minneapolis. His confidence is growing by the minute.
Our receivers are coming down with the ball. I mean, they have not dropped a pass yet, and they've just been playing great, and the offensive line's been giving me time to throw, so it's been fun out there, and we've been in a rhythm, and we're playing the way that we're capable of playing.
All right, when a player has an injury like Rex had at the Metrodome, does that enter in his mind at all, do you think, as you head up there?
I think somewhere in the back of his mind, of course, is going to enter into it, and he's going to say, you know what, I don't care about that. It's part of the game. You're going to get hurt. Doesn't matter if it's grass, if it's turf. People get hurt on any kind of field. Rex is going to put that behind him. I believe he's going to go out and focus on what he has to do.
Sure, we're surprised the Bears have been throwing so much, but what's even more staggering is that you guys are using the tight end. Des Clark and John Gilmore had 3 touchdowns last week. Are we seeing more tight end because that's what the defense is allowing you to have, or is that more by design?
Well, I think you got to love John Gilmore. You got to love Desmond Clark. First of all, John Gilmore, here's a guy that's not going to get a lot of offensive plays, but guess what? He's our secret weapon. He's going to come in. He's going to come in the red zone, catch balls, catch touchdowns. This guy has the greatest touchdown average right now. 2 catches, 2 touchdowns. You got to love him. And then Desmond Clark, you know, Mr. Clutch. He goes up. He's making big catches. He's stretching the field. He's doing all the things that you would expect out of a good tight end, and we're expecting him to do that, and we're happy with how he's playing.
That's why we call him John Happy Gilmore, too. Everyone wanted to know who would be your partner in crime. Your Batman, who would be the Robin, who's the Bears' number 2 wideout, and the early returns say, no question, it's Bernard Berrien.
Well, I kind of predicted that Bernard would be the guy that come in, start on the other side of me. I had no idea that he was going to come out playing as well as he's been playing. I'm actually pleased how he started the season, but, you know, I tell Bernard every day, we haven't done anything yet. You know, it's time to still stay humble. It's time to work hard. It's time for us to go out there and still play with a sense of urgency. You know, 2 games is 2 games, and it's only 2 wins. And if we end the season with only 2 wins, guess what? We haven't done anything yet.
He had 6 catches last week, 138 yards. He had that great 41-yard touchdown catch where he reached out. How many times did you guys watch that in the film session this week? Did he just sit there and shuttle it back and forth?
Yeah, well, I mean, you would probably think so. I think his mom probably watched it more than he did. But, you know, in this league, you got to take the good with the bad. You know, when you have a bad play, you put it behind you. When you have a good play, you put it behind you. One of the most valuable things that a veteran told me when I was young in this league was you have to have a short memory, and that's what I mean by that.
Can his success help you out where he draws more attention from the defense and maybe frees you up where you don't see so many double teams?
Oh, definitely. And, you know, if you try to take one part of our game away, which the running game has been a point of emphasis for defenses, our passing game has been the thing that has exploited. You can try to take me out, Bernard's going to have a good game. You can try to take both of us out, Desmond Clark is going to have a good game. And if you try to take all of us out, guess what? We're going to send in our secret weapon, John Gilmore, and he's going to have a good game.
The beauty is you guys are no longer predictable. Last year was run, throw on 3rd and long or something like that. You guys are right now very unpredictable. Time now for Moose's Moment. You had 4 catches last week. You're now tied with Dez for the team lead with 10 snags on the year. You're going to go up against Antoine Winfield. I don't think you'll see too much of Fred Smoot, but will you have any love boat jokes ready for Freddie? No,
no, I can't have any love boat jokes for him, but, you know, I never really talk much on the field. I'm one of those guys that kind of just grits and grins at you and gives you a bunch of mean mugs and just tries to go out and play and let my pads do the talking.
Yeah, we haven't seen many drops at all. That was the big problem from the receiving corps last year. Is that because you're throwing the ball more? There's more of a rhythm to this passing game where last year it was kind of sporadic. You'd maybe only see 3 balls thrown your way.
Well, you know, I think Rex throws a really catchable ball. I think guys are really focused this year. There's a different energy about the team. We've really worked hard here, so, you know, we're excited about what we're doing out there.
Well, Thomas Jones and Cedric Benson combined for 89 yards last week, and even though they gained just 2.6 yards per carry, offensive coordinator Ron Turner says the running game is close to getting on track.
You know, our running game's fine. We're doing some good things there. The average can be misleading. Late in the first 2 games in the 4th quarter, we're ahead. You know, they know we're going to run. We're running the ball every play. We get 3rd and 8, and we're running the ball and getting 2 yards. You know, so I don't get real concerned with the average. You know, we're doing some good things in the running game. And also, you know, you've got to look at, we've thrown 5 touchdown passes in 2 games. All 5 of them have come on play action off of the run. So, you know, they go hand in hand.
That's a good point. I didn't really think about it. They all came on play action, so certainly people are buying into the run. Why hasn't the running game been more successful, at least from the statistical standpoint?
Well, I think we're going to get to that point. We're going to get to that point. We're going to have a breakout game. I think runs have been there. There have been some shoestring tackles. There have been some different things that have kind of hindered our running game, but it's right there. We're right on the verge of having a huge game. And this offense, there's going to be a star every week, and it could be a different player every week. It could be the running game. It could be a Thomas Jones. It could be a Cedric Benson, or it could go out and it could be Bernard Berrian, as you saw last week. It could be Des Clark, who you saw last week. It could be myself. So there's a number of guys, and you also have to look out for Jason McKee. I mean, he blocks a lot. He carries the ball a little bit, but as a fullback, he's going to leak out of the backfield and catch some balls also. So he could be a guy that could possibly come out catching balls on checkdowns and catching 8 to 10 balls in a game.
Yeah, he's already done it this year. How important is that running game in that deafening Metrodome? It's going to be hard for you guys on the edges to hear audibles and whatnot. So how important is it to establish that running game?
I think it's very important, and we have to stick with the run. I think Ron Turner's doing a good job of that, of getting a good mix. Run, pass, run, mixing it up on first down, second down, and things like that. But the running game is going to come. Just like I said, Thomas Jones is going to have a breakout game. It's fueled by that offensive line led by Olin Kreutz. These guys up front are definitely getting the job done. They're all the Pro Bowl status type of guys, man, and we have depth at that offensive line. We're very proud of the way they're working.
Yeah, Rex was not sacked last week. Time for our first break here on Countdown to Kickoff, presented by IPA. Coming up next, Lovie tweaks the starting lineup for this first time this year. We'll discuss the rookie who's getting his first start in the Bears secondary this week. Plus, the Vikings 2-0. They're at home against the defending NFC North champs. Does Brad Johnson consider this a must-win? And go-karts. They're probably built for kids around 12 to 17 years old. How do they hold up when Moose and some of the Bears jump behind the wheel? It's all coming up on Countdown to Kickoff.
Do Chaser hangover pills really work? It's an important question, especially if you're one of the millions who suffer a hangover after moderate social drinking. The answer is in how Chaser works. Just take 2 Chaser caplets with your first drink and 2 more later. Chaser is made of specially processed calcium carbonate and charcoal. These ingredients absorb toxins and acids, then pass them out of your system, kind of like a filter. The next morning, you'll wake up feeling great. And here's proof. In clinical trials, Chaser reduced hangover symptoms as much as 70% over placebo. 70%. Pain relievers only dull the agony once you have a hangover, and they carry serious alcohol warnings. But Chaser helps stop hangovers before they start. That's it. The simple facts behind Chaser. It absorbs toxins, then passes them from your system. Take it while you drink to help you wake up feeling great. Find out if Chaser's right for you. Chaser products are available at these fine stores, or for more information, go to chaseronline.com.
Well, I'm very, very positive on the Bulls' future. I think John has done a fantastic job of rearranging the roster, and we like all of our young players. We want to keep those guys. It's turned around. It's turned around quickly. We trust our guys, and we believe in them, and we're in a position here now where we can not just make the playoffs. We can get out of that first round, and who knows what can happen.
Announcing Max Madson's massive Mitsubishi markdown. Increased factory shipments require Max Madsen to mark down every new Driven to Thrill Mitsubishi model. Every new Galant, Eclipse, Endeavor, Spider, Lancer, Outlander, Raider pickup, even Evo, plus every pre-driven vehicle. 0% APR financing or cashback from $1,000 to $5,000 to qualified buyers. It's our biggest markdown in our 20-year history. Max Madson's massive Mitsubishi markdown.
It's a tough place to play. They're tough at home. Their crowd is into the game the whole game. They're just hard to beat at home. And division games are always hard to win on the road, especially up there.
Welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff. The Metrodome is a tough place to play. In fact, the Bears haven't won there since 2001. While it might be difficult to crank up that offense and all that noise, it's nice to know that your defense is playing at such a high level that they can take some of the pressure off you guys.
Yeah, and if the defense plays well, guess what? It's going to be a quiet Metrodome. We don't have to worry about that, but, we have to show up and do our job. These guys are very talented. They have a team that's come out and played 2 very good games.
They were tremendous getting to the quarterback last week, registering 6 sacks? That has to, we talk about confidence, it's all around this team right now, especially those guys up front.
And when you win, it breeds confidence. And, the injuries don't feel as bad on Monday and Tuesday. And the team feels a lot better. So this team is playing at a high level. Obviously, they're confident in what they're doing. They go out, beat a Redskin team on the road. Then they come home and they beat a Carolina team where the game was probably lost. And so it's a good team, and then we have to go in there and play a good game for us to beat these guys.
Well, even though the Bears are ranked 4th overall in total defense, Lovie did make a move this week. Rookie Danielle Manning will get the start at free safety, replacing Chris Harris. Here's why Coach Smith made the move.
It was surprising. I wasn't expecting to come in this early. But like I said, man, just keep working hard. You know, you just can't stop here.
Of course I'm not happy. I mean, I don't think anybody would be. But, I mean, that comes with the game. That's a part of it. So, I mean, I'm a team player, and if Lovie thinks that's the best decision for this team, then, I mean, I have no choice but to go by it.
Well, as you say, the NFL stands for not for long. Remember, it was a year ago that Chris took over for Green, and now it happens with the rookie coming in, Manning. You go up against Danielle in practice. What does he bring to this position?
I think Daniel brings speed to the game. I think he brings some toughness to the game. He definitely has a lot of upside. I think both of these guys have a lot of upside. When you look at Chris, he's a big hitter, definitely covers the field well. But I think between the two of these guys, they're both going to be able to get the job done. I pay so much attention to what's going on the offensive side of the ball that it's a mystery to me that a switch was made this early. But, you know, Lovie is a guy that makes decisions for all the right reasons, and he does have a good philosophy about what he's doing. So we'll have to stay tuned and see what happens with this. We've mentioned the noise at the Metrodome already a couple times tonight. People might think we're making too much of this, but there's a reason why the Bears are just 9-15 at that Metrodome since 1982. Did you guys jack up the volume in practice this week to work on things like audibles, and did you do silent counts and things like that? Oh, definitely. We did silent counts. We had a noise machine. They brought this huge noise machine on the sideline, and it was, you know, just so annoying to hear that thing in your ear, but it gets you ready for these games. I remember going into Minnesota when I played with Carolina, and they brought this big, huge chopper out on the field right before the game, and it was as loud as can be, but guess what? You can barely hear the noise of that chopper over the crowd. So we'll be ready for that. I think we're ready. Do you guys have to limit things? Do you have to limit the audibles, or what does the noise prevent you from doing, so to say? Well, you have to be careful with the snap count. You know, the offensive linemen are going to have to listen in. They're going to have to key the football. They're going to have to watch when the football is snapped. Offensive wide receivers and running backs, we're going to have to key when the offensive line moves and when the ball is snapped. The running backs obviously won't be able to see the ball when it's snapped, so they're looking at the line. We're keying right in on the football, and we're waiting until the ball is snapped. And those things like that have to be, you know, really zeroed in on. All right. Well, as you mentioned, the Vikes may be fortunate that they beat Carolina last week after the Panthers tried a trick play on a punt return that led to the game-tying touchdown. Here's how Vikings quarterback Brad Johnson responded to the question this week: is this a must-win game?
I don't want to get caught up into this as a must-win type thing, you know, for the end of the year. Obviously, we all know what's at stake from, you know, being a conference, being a division game, being a home game. But it's like I talked about last week. It's more about the moment at this time of year, and the greatness about our team, we haven't given up. We found ways to, you know, make a play when we need to, and we found ways to win against some, you know, 2 playoff teams from last year, and so happy about that. And you know, the record at the end of the season will take care of itself, and obviously we play Chicago twice, and you know, hopefully take care of business on Sunday. All right, from the Bears' offensive standpoint, what problems does this Vikings defense present to you guys? I think from the Bears' standpoint, our offense, when we look at the Vikings' defense, they do a lot of movement up front. Their defensive line is extremely fast. Their linebackers are quick. They attack and they run downhill as a defense. They do a lot of blitzing, a lot of different schemes. So they try to confuse you up front as an offensive line. They try to confuse you with your protection schemes. And so you have to really be careful when you're pointing out who's going to block who and how you're going to protect the quarterback, and then also in the running game, because they try to jump around blocks and they blitz a lot and they cause a lot of problems with the speed of their defense. Time for another break here on Countdown to Kickoff presented by IPA. We go-karting with Moose and the Bears next. Apparently, trash talking isn't just for the football field.
This is intense as it gets right here, baby. This is game day. This is for all the marbles, baby, all the marbles.
And you know there's going to be some trash talking on the banks of the Red Cedar Saturday night. Michigan State, Notre Dame. We'll relive one of Moose's Irish moments later.
Bears Blitz every Wednesday and Thursday at 4:30, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Only one thing can generate excitement like a Volvo.
Hi, I'm John Leonardi from Patrick Volvo in Schaumburg, along with Stephanie and Harrison. From one all-star team to another, want to wish the Chicago teams all the best in bringing home another championship.
Baseball on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you by Patrick Volvo, 1600 East Higgins Road in Schaumburg.
Over the head of Jenks. Gucci gets it, falls down, throws on the run. Oh my God! What a play! Unreal! Wow. That's the start.
Honey, where's the car?
Your brother came by and borrowed it.
Kevin or Dave?
Dave?
So, that's when it came to me. Why don't we extend coverage no matter who you let drive your car?
I like that. That's good. Yes.
Your coverage extended to anyone you let drive your car. 21st Auto Insurance. Drivers just like you.
I'm Mark Shanowski. Monday on Chicago Tribune Live, we begin Headliners Week with a breakdown of the Bears' battle against the Vikings. Plus, we'll catch you up on the White Sox and Cubs. That and more starts Monday at 5:30.
Minnesota, tough team we have coming up this weekend. Big game for us, third game in the division. Again, just another day, day closer to getting a chance to play them.
Lovey looking to get his first win in Minneapolis on Sunday. Welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff, presented by IPA. Alongside Musa Muhammad, I'm Pat Boyle. Time for you, the fan, to get interactive with this show. We're going to dive into our email bag every single week, and here's this week's question. Chris from Newcastle, Pennsylvania, which, by the way, you're huge in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. He wants to know, how does Lovie Smith rank with others that have coached you in your career?
Top 1 or 2. I definitely have to say top 1 or 2. I think George Perlis was one of my favorite coaches.
Oh, yeah.
Back at Michigan State. So I would have to say that Lovie is right up there, does know how to take care of his players.
What about at Carolina?
Carolina, John Fox was probably my favorite coach that I had at Carolina.
All right, if you got a question for Moose, log on to our website at ComcastSportsNet.com. Click the link to the Bears page, submit your question, and you may get it answered on the air. Time now for our Moose is Loose segment. Last week, you took on Roy Williams. This week, we're going to switch gears literally as Moose is loose on the go-kart track with a few of his teammates.
Let's get it on.
Sugar, let's get it on. This looks like the winter suit to me, huh?
Look, this is like a Slim Jim. Like a stick of Big Red, don't it?
That's where you're gonna stay, too. That's where you're gonna stay, right behind me, ball. That's where you're gonna stay, the whole race.
Who's number one? Hey, no, who got that on tape? I'm number 1.
You gotta do a backflip off the car.
You see how the receivers just dominate everything?
Yo, we just,
you know what I mean?
Terrible. We won this.
The receivers just dominate everything.
It don't make no
quote
kind of
unquote.
sense. Bam.
You know, first, second, and third.
Bam.
It's good to see you guys don't get along at all. Every once in a while, what do the Bears do on their days off? They think you sit around and rest up from the injuries? No, you guys go karting.
Well, I'll tell you what, we had just about every position represented, maybe not the offensive, defensive line for obvious reasons, but everybody tends to think that the defensive backs are the fastest ones on the team. We proved that wrong.
All right.
Wideouts won the race.
They did, and we'll see the full story on Sports Night on Friday night. Time for one more break here on Countdown to Kickoff, presented by IPA. Coming up, Emmett Smith and Jerry Rice of Dance with the Stars. We'll find out which one of Moose's teammates has the best moves on the dance floor. It's in our Hurry Up, and it's coming up next.
Guys, are you sick of feeling fat and tired? Has your sex life slowed down or even come to a screeching halt?
Introducing Nutrisystem for men.
Look at these guys. They all lost a ton of weight with Nutrisystem. You can too.
Order today and get 4 full weeks of awesome food. Plus, you'll get an extra week of hearty meals free. The secret to the system is the glycemic index, a science that separates good carbs from bad. So now you can eat pasta, burgers, even pizza.
Come on, get back in the game.
Since Nutrisystem, my sex life is excellent. I feel I'm back again. I feel like better than I did in high school.
About $10 a day gets you 4 full weeks of rib-sticking meals.
If you want to lose weight, pick up the phone and change your life.
I'm 40 years old. I'm in the best shape of my life.
Order our 4-week men's program and get an extra 7 breakfasts, lunches, dinners, and desserts, a full week of food, and a $70 value absolutely free. So call now.
Hi, I'm Dan Jiggins. Monday, we're kicking off Headliners Week on Chicago Tribune Live. Tune in all week at 5:30 as we reveal one of 5 different Chicago Tribune headlines every night. Write down all 5, then log on to ComcastSportsNet.com and fill out an entry form. One lucky winner gets a full year subscription to the Chicago Tribune, a Comcast Sportsnet prize pack, and lunch with me. You'll need all 5 to win, so don't miss Headliners Week on CTL, beginning Monday at 5:30 on Comcast Sportsnet.
A massive Toyota clearance is on at Chicago Northside Toyota. One final clearance on over 500 new 2006 Toyotas. Every Toyota has been ordered sold regardless of profit. Get maximum Toyota incentives, plus maximum trade-in allowances. Chicago Northside Toyota has special introductory pricing on the hottest new 2007 Toyotas, Camry, FJ Cruiser, and Yaris. This massive clearance ends soon, so get to Chicago Northside Toyota today. Minutes away on Broadway. ChicagoToyota.com.
Dozier now the fullback, and again, Banks firing, and Gushman is caught, and again, this is Muhammad.
That was number 1, Musa Muhammad, when he played at Michigan State, when he was taking on Notre Dame back in the early 90s. Those 2 schools will meet Saturday. Time for the Hurry Up Offense, brought to you by IPA. And guess where we're starting? We're starting in East Lansing. 2 minutes on the clock, please. Michigan State or Notre Dame, who's going to win that game?
Well, I think Michigan State has owned that series since I left the school. All the pressure's on Notre Dame. I'm going to have to go with Michigan State in East Lansing.
All right, we'll see what happens there. They've won 7 of the last 9. Emmett Smith is taking part in Dancing with the Stars. We saw Jerry Rice do it. Who's the best dancer on the Bears?
I'm going to have to go with my man, the robot, defensive line, Tommy Harris.
Yeah, because he might hurt you if you didn't say that right. There are 11 winless teams right now in the National Football League. Which one's the biggest surprise to you?
I'm going to have to say the Carolina Panthers. You know, they were the prediction to go to the Super Bowl this year. And although I know there's a lot of roads to the Super Bowl, they're really picking the toughest one right now.
Yeah, they don't have Steve Smith, and they don't have you. Give me one Chicago athlete, past or present, that's not a Bear, that you would like to meet.
I would have to say Michael Jordan. You know, I saw him playing golf in my backyard the other day.
4! Jump out there and say hi.
Well, you know, I almost jumped over the fence like a fan and went and asked for his autograph.
That would have been cool. All right, you're in Minnesota this weekend, which, of course, is where Prince is from, within 2 inches. How tall is Prince?
I'm going to have to say Prince is no taller than my belt buckle.
He's 5'2". But with the heels, he's 5'8". Okay. What's your favorite Prince song? Everybody has a favorite Prince song.
Favorite Prince song, I'm going to have to say, is Call My Name.
Call My Name.
Call My Name.
Dusty or Ozzy, who would you rather play for?
I would have to say the coach that would just go out there and knuckle up, just downright dirty kind of guy. I think that'd be Ozzy.
All right. What 2-0 National Football League surprises you most right now?
I'm going to have to say New Orleans. You know, that's a tough division that they're playing in. And they go out, they beat Cleveland early, and then they come back and they play Green Bay and go down to the whistle against Green Bay and win a tough game. I'm going to have to say New Orleans.
Not to make you Roy Williams, but final score Sunday against the Vikings at the Metrodome. Give it to us.
I'm going to say that... you know, as long as the Bears win, I'm going to be happy with it.
All right. We'll take that. That's going to do it for the Hurry Up. Good luck this week at the Metrodome. Let's make it 3-0. That's going to do it for us here on Countdown to Kickoff, presented by IPA. For number 87, Musa Muhammad, I am Pat Boyle. We will see you next week.
Every night at 10 at midnight, there's only one show devoted to the true Chicago sports fan, Jim Beam's Sports Night on Comcast Sportsnet. If you love Chicago sports, then this is your nightly destination for all that's happening. No other show goes as in-depth on your teams, with highlights, interviews, analysis, and more time on the stories you care about. Chicago, this is your nightly sports news. Jim Beam Sports Night, nightly at 10 and midnight on Comcast Sportsnet. Want more than just the score? Then log on to ComcastSportsNet.com. Read analysis from Comcast Sportsnet's experts that you can't find anywhere else. Get up to the second news headlines. See the day's programming lineup. Check out talent bios and watch video clips featuring the latest info on your teams. Plus, sign up for Sports Extra and Sports Blast email alerts that make you the first to know about breaking news. So what are you waiting for? Log on to ComcastSportsNet.com right now. When the game is over, the breakdown gets started on BMW Cubs Postgame Live.
As we mentioned, the Cubs really got off to a good start in this game.
Dan Plesac offers his take on what happened.
This game was simply won and lost in the 5th inning.
Hear live postgame reactions. Catch Linenbaum's final thoughts. And preview the Northsiders' next big matchup. BMW Cubs Postgame Live. After every Cubs game on Comcast Sportsnet.
It's got the best jersey and the best crust in the world, being from here and having the opportunity to play here, play my first game, play my 1000th game, and get a chance to come home and be a broadcaster.
It's the big city. It's an original 16. It's that Blackhawk logo. It's Comcast Sportsnet. All those things mixed together make it a perfect scenario.
You got 5 home games, too.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of exciting times, I think, ahead for Blackhawk fans that we're going to capture on a nightly basis.
When people watch the games on television, they're going to sit on the edge of their seats.
And welcome to another week of Fantasy Fix. We are here to help your fantasy football team, and you're going to win that league this year. To help us each and every week, it's the guru, John Hansen from FantasyGuru.com. 2 weeks in the books. Any thoughts so far?
Pretty solid season so far. I'm 21-3 in my league, so I'm trying to keep my head up. You know what I mean? But
Just
otherwise,
a reminder to everyone out there, John participates in about 18 fantasy football leagues, but that's why you're the guru.
I'm in 8 leagues that are expert leagues, people in magazines and websites, and 2 high-stakes leagues. Doing well so far. I didn't draft any Tampa Bay Buccaneers, luckily. Cadillac Williams, I was way off base on him. High on him, love the kid, special back. Not happening right now. Very worried about that situation. The waiver wire has been a little light. Marcus Colston, Jericho Cotry, like Alex Smith, Grossman, Desmond Clark. Other than that, it's been pretty light.
All right. It doesn't matter what you're doing in your expert leagues. It's only the Fantasy Fix show that we're worried about, and you've got some work, my friend. No, that's not necessarily true, but it's time to talk about guys you need to play this week. It's our Fixer-Upper segment, and we start with the quarterbacks. What is this? 2003, 2004. There's some names on here I got to tell you, starting with Michael Vick.
Well, Michael Vick right now is playing like the guy that people invested high draft picks on several years ago. They're running the option in Atlanta at this point, so he's running the ball like crazy. Against the Saints, their linebackers are horrible. He's going to do big on Monday Night Football.
Shocker here, Dante Culpepper has not looked good so far, but this week against Tennessee, probably come bounce back time.
Tennessee Titans, the get-well defense in the NFL. If Culpepper doesn't do it here, I mean, it's going to happen. It has to happen. 250 and a touch last week, despite the struggles. That bodes well.
You also think Brett Favre has a good shot against those Detroit Lions this week. Now, another guy struggling who's put up big numbers in the past, Mark Bulger. New offensive system there in St. Louis. He hasn't looked comfortable.
No, he hasn't.
But Arizona's defense, less comfortable.
I think you have to play him. You have to go with him. He did throw a touchdown pass to Torrey Holt. He's clearly, like you said, not comfortable in this offense. The Cardinals lost their number 2 corner this week. It's going to be a somewhat high-scoring game. You have to roll with him. And Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner, a little, he doesn't say it, but redemption against the Rams is something he always looks forward to. But Alex Smith, a guy normally you don't want to touch. Suddenly he's a different quarterback this year, and the Eagles secondary's banged up.
Banged up, definitely a couple of corners down. Javon Curse is down. Love what Norv Turner is doing with Alex Smith, putting him in the best position to succeed every week. And you got to love Antonio Bryant these days.
All right, David Carr rounds out the list. Now it's time to talk running backs. St. Louis is, in the past, has been a passing team, but they are looking at the run. And Steven Jackson, 200-yard games in a row, so he tops your list.
You got to start him, obviously, but I figure I'll throw him on there as my no-duh guy of the week. Right. Steven Jackson is running like a beast, which is good, and he's not trying to bust all his runs outside. Like, that's been a problem with him, so he's running well.
Yeah, he's been hearing it from the St. Louis media about that dancing thing. Clinton Portis, a little bit of a surprise, banged up, but you think healthy enough to run against that Texan defense?
Yeah, he practiced on Wednesday. Looks like he's good to go. The Texan defense is just god-awful. Mario Williams, 2 tackles last week. It's just an abomination right now. You got to roll with Portis.
All right, Fred Taylor, healthy and running well.
Looked
and
great Monday night. And the Colt defense, I'm telling you right now, they are soft.
Willis McGahee, a guy in the past, last year disappointed a little bit, but you think he's bouncing back?
I don't think he's a great back. I think he's a solid back, a great number 2. Jet run defense has some issues against the run.
Amon Green, a little bit of surprise there. Again, it's got to be, you're looking at the Lions because things are not going well in Green Bay.
No, and Amon Green has been solid, and their line is holding up a little bit. He's catching the football. All-around guy, not scoring, but he's getting decent yardage. He should get decent yardage again.
All right, we continue now with the wide receivers and staying with the Detroit Lions, our miserable team theme, leading the way, Chris Chambers against that Titans secondary.
Oh, yeah, you got to roll with Chris Chambers this week. Dante Culpepper again struggling, but he did get the late touchdown to Chambers. Pac-Man Jones, Wolfe has been a bust for them. It's just an abomination.
And Donald Driver's got nice numbers, but hasn't been able to find the end zone. This is the week.
Yeah, because Dre Bly, Fernando Bryant, undersized corners, not playing very well. Kenoy Kennedy's banged up back there. Lions defense very hit or miss. Drivers should be fine.
Well, the Steelers played in an unbelievable defensive battle against Jacksonville last week. Hines Ward. This week, you think gets a breather against Cincinnati, but that's no bargain.
No, the Cincinnati defense definitely improved, but they're going to have to throw the ball because Carson Palmer and Rudy Johnson are going to have success. Now, their offensive line's a little banged up. That hurts, but Palmer's going to get it done. Roethlisberger's going to have no choice but to put it up. Hines Ward will score this week.
All right, I'm sensing maybe a little garbage time production with Andre Johnson.
Definitely.
DJ, who's your mama? Also, you like that?
Well, he's banged up. Make sure you check his status. He did not practice on Wednesday.
But I want to get to your kind of a sleeper guy for you, Marcus Colston there in New Orleans. Not many people know about him.
I'm not sure if he's a sleeper at this point. I mean, it's all about production in fantasy football. You can't start Lee Evans if he's struggling every week. Now, he almost scored in a long one. Marcus Colston's getting it done. You have to roll with him. They will have to throw a lot. And D'Angelo Hall is going to most likely work on Joe Horn.
All right, now we finish it up with the tight ends and leading the way, the Algae. The Algae, man. Michael Vick loves his safety valve, and you like Crumpler.
Love Crump Daddy this week. The Saint defense playing a little bit over their head right now, but their linebackers, again, very shaky in coverage, as are their safeties.
All right, your favorite man crush in years past, Chris Cooley, off to a slow start. Why is he breaking out this
It's the Houston Texans. If he doesn't get it done in this game, it's officially time to panic.
You're breaking up with him.
I may have to.
Okay, we continue with the panel here going Desmond Clark. Now, that's a guy you mentioned at the top of the show. Desmond Clark now exciting.
He's the top waiver wire pickup at the tight end position. All the studs are really struggling. Meanwhile, Desmond Clark, go figure, he's getting it done. Ron Turner is the man. He's the offensive coordinator for the Bears, doing it again in Chicago.
And then there is Desmond's twin brother from a different mother, Dallas Clark, Indianapolis. And Vernon Davis, shut out last week, had the nice game won, but why this week?
He did have a pass thrown to him in the end zone he almost scored on. This is what you get when you watch all the games. I have this shortcut thing on DirecTV. I watch all the games, and he did have a pass thrown to him. Eagles traditionally struggle against the tight end. I think they're going to put the clamps down on Bryant. Davis is going to have to come through.
You are only confirming you have no life. You watch every game. You study. You continually put things together for the website.
Yeah, but check me out in February. I am all over the place doing all kinds of stuff.
You're in Bermuda. All right. Well, that's segment number one. Coming up, we talk about our studs, duds, and sleepers. But before we go to the break, check out some of the Week 3 NFL matchups.
Haven't ordered dinner yet? Then try Giordano's, Chicago's famous stuffed pizza. We made it good. You made it famous.
Get them up! Get them up! Just like our savings. Libertyville Mitsubishi is a lean, mean dealing machine. Get 0 APR or save from $500 to $5,000 on all new Mitsubishis now. Plus, get a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty and more.
There's only one, Bob Rohrman.
You owe it to yourself. Bob Rohrman's Libertyville Mitsubishi on Milwaukee Avenue, Libertyville.
Do chaser hangover pills really work? It's an important question, especially if you're one of the millions who suffer a hangover after moderate social drinking. The answer is in how Chaser works. Just take 2 Chaser caplets with your first drink and 2 more later. Chaser is made of specially processed calcium carbonate and charcoal. These ingredients absorb toxins and acids, then pass them out of your system, kind of like a filter. The next morning, you'll wake up feeling great. And here's proof. In clinical trials, Chaser reduced hangover symptoms as much as 70% over placebo. 70%. Pain relievers only dull the agony once you have a hangover, and they carry serious alcohol warnings. But Chaser helps stop hangovers before they start. That's it. The simple facts behind Chaser. It absorbs toxins, then passes them from your system. Take it while you drink to help you wake up feeling great. Find out if Chaser's right for you. Chaser products are available at these fine stores, or for more information, go to chaseronline.com.
All right, welcome back. Some more matchups in Week 3 of the NFL. It is Fantasy Fix, and we bring in another man to talk about who he likes, dislikes, and who he kind of likes but doesn't love. How are you doing? Ed Barkowitz, fantasy football writer of the Philadelphia Daily News. Let's get all the introductions in. Your thoughts through 2 weeks?
Well, you know, it's a little surprising and disappointing that the big guys haven't come through yet. The Shaun Alexanders, LaDainians, you know, they've had pedestrian-type games. But, you know, a couple of the guys are off this week, so there's been a little bit of panic among the guys who've drafted high.
Yeah, the guys who drafted high certainly are worried, but maybe those guys who drafted 8, 9, 10, they may have gotten 2 good players.
Who's gotten the Steve Jacksons of the world.
Sure. All right. Well, it's time to take a look at who we love, as I mentioned, who we hate, and who we kind of love that people may not know that much about. It is our Studs, Duds, and Sleepers segment, and I'm going to start because I can. I am the host here. I like Steve McNair. Things are going right there in Baltimore.
Good luck with that one, buddy.
Yeah, I know, but it is Cleveland, so I'm not that. Frank Gore, I'm taking a little bit of a step out there. I am just thinking that Philadelphia, after the embarrassment against the Giants,
stop thinking right now.
They are going to play the Niners extremely tough. D'Angelo Williams. They're going to take on that Tampa Bay Buccaneer team that's struggling a little bit. Let's face it, this is the man of the future. They get a lead, they're going to start feeding D'Angelo. So, John, go ahead and sell me on your guys. Michael Vick, I've heard.
Well, you know what? The guy runs 10 times a game now, and the Saints are terrible. He's going to run on national TV. He's going to rush for like 80 yards and a touch. He'll throw one to Crump Daddy. End of the day, he'll be a top 5 quarterback this week for fantasy. Chad Johnson, love the player. Don't necessarily like the matchup. Their offensive line's a little banged up. Ike Taylor will do a good job against him for the Steelers. And Marcus Colston, all he does is catch touchdown passes. Gotta like that, and you gotta like him this week against the Falcons.
I think there's a man crush developing there.
There could be.
All right, Ed, fire away.
Well, Donovan, I think, is an obvious choice. Last year they went to San Francisco, put a 42 on him, 300-something yards, bounce back. Who bounces back more, and who do they need more than Donovan? Mark Bolger, I'm a little worried about St. Louis, particularly in the offensive line. They lost the center, McCollum. Orlando Pace is a little banged up.
He's out.
He's out. And so, I mean, I'm a little worried about St. Louis, although I think Jackson's an obvious play. And McNair as a sleeper, a lot of guys have him as a second quarterback, and I think he is a guy to play this week because Cleveland's defensive backfield is all banged up.
See, the problem I have with the McNair pick is Charlie Fry going to force him into a shootout against the Raven defense. They're going to be held to single digits. They're going to be handing the ball off to Jamal Lewis, Musa Smith, and Mike Anderson.
Legitimate argument, my friend, but I think there's also a chance they go out, they get points early. I'll take them. We sit back, yes. Maybe not a 350-yard day, but I think he can get them in the end
With
zone.
Cleveland's secondary banged up, I think that's where you attack.
Although I have an issue with the sleeper tag on him. We all know about Steve McNair. You're supposed to give me a guy you just don't know that much about.
If he's your first quarterback, though, I don't think he's a first quarterback type
I think
guy.
it's a legit sleeper because he is a lower-end guy, and that is a way out on the limb stud. So good luck with that one.
All right, I'm getting picked on here a little bit here. All right, since there are a couple of weeks in the books, time to look at some trends, huh? And Steve Zabin as well as Scott Lynn think they have found some. Here it is.
All right, everybody, it's the Fantasy Gurus here. Steve Zabin, Scott Lynn from the first team on Fox. Well, yeah. You're probably wondering what happened to my Redskin jersey.
Yeah, but you're wearing a Redskin hat.
Yeah, well, we're great. We're number 1. I've actually been demoted. Like Clinton Portis, I'm not playing this week. So maybe if my team wins a game, I'll wear the jersey again, but just the hat this week. Hey, and we want to revisit something from last week. I think I said, like an idiot, I'd go hard after Randy Moss.
I don't think you're an idiot for saying that.
You know, I'm starting to shade that a little bit now.
Don't shade on that
2 weeks,
at all.
I'm starting to shade. Why would you go after Randy Moss now?
Why wouldn't you go after Randy Moss right now? Guys in the studio gave you a hard time for this last week.
Yeah.
Moss has upcoming on the schedule Cleveland, Arizona, San Francisco, all a little shady on the secondary side.
Yeah, he's got Andrew Walter throwing it to him, all right?
But here's what Andrew Walter likes to do and did a lot of it in college.
Overthrow people.
Stop it. Throw the ball deep. Randy Moss loves the deep ball.
All right, well, if you want to go after him, I mean, be careful on the price. I'm not saying you give up your, huge roster pick for him, but, maybe you want to go after him. You want to talk this week about chasing box scores.
Yeah.
Always fun in fantasy. Chasing last week's box score.
All right, here's the best example. Amani Toomer, 12 catches, 137 yards against the Eagles last week, 2 touchdowns. Yeah. All of last season, no double-digit catches in a game.
That'll be his best week he'll have all year, guaranteed.
He got his season total, basically. Didn't have a double-digit touchdown game, didn't have a double-digit catch game all of last season. You want to go after Amani Toomer, or if someone tries to peddle him your way, tell him go sell crazy somewhere else.
Who else is a chaser?
Troy Williamson actually is a good chaser for this week. Brad Johnson appears comfortable with him as the number 1 spot. Chris Cooley, a chaser, not because of overwhelming statistics.
His stock is down. They're not using him.
That's why you got to go and do it now.
Really?
If someone wants
I'd go after Moss before I went after Cooley.
Here's what works with the Redskins offense: the tight end. Go after Chris Cooley.
You're nuts.
I'm not
have
nuts.
Chris Cooley.
Fine. You want to go after somebody else? Don't go after Keyshawn Johnson. Big weekend last weekend. Steve Smith will be back. Let's just say soon enough. Stay away from Keyshawn Johnson as well.
All right, for Urlacher, I'm Portis. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Have a good week.
All right, my question is, what's your favorite chaser? I like a Budweiser beer after a shot of tequila. No, I'm kidding. Who would you think is a guy that has performed well early on that you don't think is going to be good for the long term? Anybody stick out?
Well, I'm worried about Rex Grossman. There's a high Rex Grossman chasing, and I think the Bears are good, certainly on defense, but I don't know that he's the guy, a long-term guy for you.
What about you, John? A Mirage we've seen in 2 weeks, but you think might be disastrous in the long?
No one's really jumping out at me. I will say Rex Grossman, I think he is somewhat legitimate because Ron Turner is doing a heck of a job, and he did this in '95 with Eric Kramer and Curtis Conway of setting defenses up for the big play. That's why Bernard Berrien is doing so well. I would say maybe Berrien because I like Mark Bradley better than Berrien. Bradley's a more complete receiver. He's a good talent, so maybe he kind of steps in there as a number 2.
All right, we know you have questions, and we're here to answer them. We have emails each and every week. We try to get to a few of them. It is our email, I will get it out, email call. And this one comes from Steve in Deptford, New Jersey. And I have both Jake Delhomme and David Carr, with Delhomme struggling and Steve Smith out. Is it time to consider starting Carr? Our Fantasy Fix correspondent, Sean Barber, has his answer.
This is Sean Barber, Fantasy Guru, coming at you. We have a question coming in. He wants to know who should he start this week between Jake Delhomme and David Carr. Being that Jake Delhomme's top TD threat, Steve Smith, is still on the shelf, still suffering from a hurt hamstring, I would definitely think it's a no-brainer. You got to go with David Carr. He has Andre Johnson, Eric Mose. He has the new Sam Gato, who's going to be running that route, getting him into the red zone, then allowing him to throw the ball up to his big receivers. So without a doubt, I would say this week, David Carr is the no-brainer.
All right, first of all, John, too many people are calling themselves the Fantasy Guru.
That's fine.
And you have a message, yes.
Just go to fantasyguru.com.
And see who pops up.
Whenever you hear, and see who pops up.
The internet tells the truth, and that's all you need to know.
Yeah, exactly.
The internet tells
all
the
right,
truth.
David Carr, Jake Delhomme. Ed, start with you. Who are you playing this week?
I would go Jake Delhomme. I think that Smith has practiced this week, and I don't like the matchup Washington at Houston.
Delhomme or Carr?
Carr, because Delhomme has clearly been struggling. Smith did some running on Wednesday, hasn't practiced fully. Check his status on Friday. If he practices fully on Friday, then start him. But it's in Tampa. Tampa Bay's defense is angry. And Carr, here's the deal with Carr. Garbage time production. I mean, he got it last week, 3 touchdowns, and Sean Springs injured his groin in practice for the Redskins. He's likely out this week. Their secondary is horrible without Sean Springs.
All right, so there you go. We've got a split bag there, but we also have more email to talk about. This one comes from Jeremy Lakoski from Minooka, Illinois. We appreciate it. Who should I start, Michael Vick or Rex Grossman? funny. We've been talking about that. Chris Cooley, our other fantasy football correspondent, has his take.
Oh, that's a tough question. I like Michael Vick because he has a chance of getting a lot of rushing yards and scoring rushing touchdowns. So I like Vick.
I love the hair. Each and every week, it is beautiful.
I'm jealous, actually.
Vick or Grossman, quickly?
Vick, I think, Monday night.
Vick or Grossman?
Definitely Vick. I want to ask Chris Cooley, should I start him or Algie Crumpler this week? But I didn't get the chance.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that. Don't you worry about it. All right, we're taking another break here on Fantasy Fix. Coming up, who is bragging? Who is hanging their head in shame? It's our own fantasy football competition. That's on the way. But before we go, take a look at some more of the Week 3 matchups.
Maybe you want a sedan designed for the driver. Or one that's also beautiful on the inside. Or one that can outrun the price of gas. There's a way to have all three. Introducing the 2007 Saturn Aura midsize sedan. Get a new 2007 Saturn Aura starting at $20,595 with OnStar service standard for 1 year.
If the Chicago Sun-Times was a sports team, this is what its fans would say. The Chicago Sun-Times, the official paper of sports. Make it official. Subscribe to the bright one today. Call 888-84-TIMES.
When it comes to my newspaper each morning, it's the Chicago Sun-Times. It's easy to hold, no folding, no fuss. The perfect paper for my commute. The Chicago Sun-Times, the official paper of the commute. Make it official. Subscribe to the bright one today. Call 888
Our care program can help you manage your energy bill. Simple things you can do at home can help you save money. Lighting can account for 11% of your energy budget, so turn off lights in rooms you're not using. And set timers to reduce the amount of time your lights stay on. For more energy-saving tips, visit ComEdCare.com. At ComEd, we're dedicated to delivering reliable energy at affordable prices. That's our promise. That's our way. ComEd, an Exelon company.
Come on in, get more for your money at Culver's. Value means you get more.
For a limited time, we're offering even more value with our Culver's Blue Snack Pack. Our famous single butter burger with small fries and a small drink for only $2.99. Imagine a burger made with 100% U.S. beef, always fresh, never frozen, and cooked only after you order. Now part of our everyday value at Culver's. That's the Culver's Blue Snack Pack for just $2.99. Come on in and try Culver's Blue Snack Pack today.
The all-new Mazda CX-7 has got the press making a lot of noise. And it all started with a whisper. The turbocharged, direct-injected 2007 Mazda CX-7 Sport starts at $24,345. Or get a special introductory $299 a month lease for 24 months with $29.86 due at lease signing. The SUV you never saw coming has arrived.
And welcome back to Fantasy Fix. Time now to bring up the fourth man of the panel, the Z-Man, Rob Zarzicki from DraftingToWin.com. I've been asking everyone, 2 weeks in the books, now we start seeing some trends. What have you seen?
Well, 2 weeks ago I said something about mayonnaise on the show, and I think I lost half my credibility. But my point then remains now is the Patriots, they continue to pass the ball. They spread the ball. A lot of people drafted Ben Watson very early in their drafts. The show is called Fantasy Fix. The fix is not to panic on Watson. He's going to break out. He's sort of a glorified version of Daniel Graham. We all forgot about Daniel Graham. Glorified version of Daniel Graham. He will break out soon. My advice here, hold on to Watson, but when he breaks out, you might want to trade him for a lot of value. You're going to get a lot of low games.
Yeah, you'd hate to panic on those Patriots anyway. You figure they're going to be there down the stretch. Well, each and every week we put together a little, and some people don't like to talk about it, but we put together our little fantasy football league of our own here, and each running back, wide receiver, and tight end gets a point per 20 yards, and 6 points for a touchdown. The quarterback's 1 for 50 yards, 4 points for a touchdown. And the little catch in our league here is you can't pick the same player twice, so that ought to be interesting in about week 12. But right now, a lot of chalk. And we quickly look at the standings. And Ed, solid, 31 points each week for a total of 62, leads the way. Rob with a nice bounce back in week 2. Yes. I bounced back a bit in week 2. John, the guru, you need some work to do, my friend. You're not putting enough effort into this. We're going to force you to. So we're going to start with you, your picks in week 3, and you start your quarterback, Matt Hasselbeck.
I think Matt Hasselbeck will do well this week because the Giants' secondary stinks. Osi Umenyiora, Michael Strahan better show up this week because they didn't show up last week against the Eagles. I think Hasselbeck has a very strong game. Deion Branch in the mix this week. Brian Westbrook. These are not obvious picks here, okay? This is not Peyton Manning. This is not LaDainian or any of these other guys. But Westbrook's banged up. I'll still go with him. How do you like those apples?
Yeah, you have to because we've got it in the graphics already.
That's
so
true.
you have to go with them.
That's a very good point. Hines Ward and the other guy, I don't know who he is, but I love him this week.
We also want to tell people, yes, we're forced to make these picks a little early, so John, Rob, Ed wouldn't necessarily do this. They would wait till the last moment, obviously, as you should when it's time to start someone. Now it's time for my picks, and again, I can go a little chalk here since I have not taken Carson Palmer. He's my quarterback. I'm going against the grain. When I had to make this pick, Frank Gore, I like. Now I don't like him so much, but I'm going to stick with Frank Gore. He's one of my duds and one of my picks this week. Torrey Holt has got to break out in St. Louis. Let's hope against that Cardinal secondary. That's what we could do. And Jeremy Shockey, I'm just getting him out of the way. Rob, you're on the clock. Who do you like this week?
Well, I got Vic at quarterback. Everyone seems like Vic. New Orleans, they're going to take center stage because, everybody's going to reflect on Hurricane Katrina. As soon as the game starts, Vic's going to take that stage over. Cadillac Williams, you want to call him my sleeper pick of the week. He's going to have a big game. I know he's struggled in the past 2 games, but he's going against Carolina defense that's second worst in the National Football League, and they've given up 100-yard rushes to Work Done and also Chester Taylor, so he's going to have a big game there. Plus, he blew up against them last year, 112 yards rushing plus 2 touchdowns last time he faced Carolina.
All right, Chambers, Winslow wrapping it up there. All right, the leader of the pack. Well, Ed, show me what you got.
I'm going to take the best player, I think, in fantasy right now is Peyton Manning.
Good call.
Steven Jackson.
He gets him one time.
Well, this is why you're in last. Steven Jackson, I'm worried about Mark Bolger, so I think Jackson's the guy who's going to score there. Larry Fitzgerald is an obvious pick. L.J. Smith in San Fran, I think, is another pick that's he's going to score.
Yeah, probably not a bad one. Another little fun thing we do around here is we have our knockout pool. We're all football fans, and so we're making little predictions from week in and week out. And last week, all W's for everyone. In fact, we all have survived 2 weeks or so. That makes us
Denver squeaked it out. I got lucky. Denver squeaked it out.
Yeah, the overtime job there. But let's move on now to our Week 3 picks. I had to go with the Redskins because we can't pick teams twice. I'm hoping this week against the Texans is a shot. John, the Dolphins. Rob, also the Dolphins. And then, Ed, you like those Eagles going out west, bounce-back game for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you saw what they did last year to San Fran, like we mentioned earlier, and I think they're going to roll up San Fran again.
All right, guys, we only have a few minutes left. We want to get to some more emails, and we can have your opinions on them, and we appreciate all the emails. Keep them coming here, so we're going to try to get as many as we can. Starting with Brendan. He says, can I still get a good running back? Rob, I'm going to ask you, what's a running back that maybe people haven't discovered yet out there?
Well, in the drafts, all the good rookie running backs like D'Angelo Williams, Reggie Bush, they were all obviously taken. There's really not much out there as far as running backs goes.
You missed the boat then if you didn't get them in the draft.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing out there really.
What about a backup somewhere you think might have a good chance?
Well, Marquise Colston, if you're in a flex league and then you can start a running back or wide receiver, you can take Colston, but like John said before, is not really under the radar anymore. So,
all right, Ken in Newark, Delaware writes, who should I start, Chester Taylor or Matt Jones? Ed, why don't you take this one real quick?
Well, I'll take Chester Taylor. I think that Minnesota is really utilizing him a lot, and he is a kind of guy who's going to get a lot of fourth quarter yards, so hang in there with him. Definitely start him.
Quick decision on that one there. You also go with the running back, I suppose, John.
Yeah, I do like Matt Jones, but you have to love the identity of the Viking offense right now is their big offensive line and rolling with Chester Taylor. If he gets 2 carries on 15 consecutive carries, 2 yards on 15 consecutive carries, they'll still give him the rock.
All right, we only have about 20 seconds left. Rob, you're not with us next week. Quickly, what are you doing?
Well, I play poker professionally, so I will be in Aruba playing in the World Poker Tour event, so hopefully I come back a lot richer.
So he's given up fantasy fix for Aruba, folks. There's something seriously wrong about that picture. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
On Announcing Max Madson's massive Mitsubishi markdown. Increased factory shipments require Max Madson to mark down every new Driven to Thrill Mitsubishi model. Every new Galant, Eclipse, Endeavor, Spider, Lancer, Outlander, Raider pickup, even Evo, plus every pre-driven vehicle. 0% APR financing or cashback from $1,000 to $5,000 to qualified buyers. It's our biggest markdown in our 20-year history. Max Madson's